I'm Doug Brown. Rafael Nadal withdraws from the Wimbledon semifinals today with a torn abdominal muscle. That sends Nick Kyrgios into his first Grand Slam final. In the women's semis today, Tunisia's Ons Jabeur becomes the first Arab woman to reach a Grand Slam final, and she'll play Elena Rybakina, who beat Simona Halep in straight sets. Brittney Griner pleads guilty today to inadvertently bringing hashish oil into Russia. ESPN's TJ Quinn.
The hope is that this might create some momentum. It'll show Russia, hey, look, we're not going to embarrass you. We're not going to fight it. We know what you want. We'll do our part. And maybe that's enough to get a deal going.
TJ Quinn on First Take. Even with the plea, the trial will continue. Griner will be in court again next Thursday. The Stanley Cup champion Avalanche get goaltender Alexander Georgiev in a trade with the Rangers. In that deal, New York gets 2 draft picks tonight and a third-round pick next year. The Penguins will sign defenseman Chris Letang to a 6-year extension worth almost $37 million.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Talk some LSU baseball draft. Kyle McDaniel in hour number 3. Ari Temkin here in about 15 minutes from right now. He's from Sirius XM Big 12 Radio. Really good friend of the show. We always appreciate Ari when he can jump on. There's just a lot of talk about what happens now with the Big 12, and there is continuing conversation now about a possible Big 12, Pac-12 merger. So what might that look like, and how might it affect the SEC? We'll get into all that. Can I please just start? I'm going to talk about Zion here in just a second, signing his deal and the significance of that. But people, what is Swim Swam? Hey, I got to remind you of this, okay? Like, hey, listen. I get it. Everybody wants to know what's going to happen with conference realignment and all this stuff, and the bigger, the juicier the story, the better, and all. I get it. What is Swim Swam? Yo, some guy named Braden Keith set Twitter on fire today. He tweeted earlier, source, all caps, source, Braden Keith as a source. North Carolina, Florida State, Clemson, and Virginia are all negotiating to join the SEC. ESPN is trying to avoid their TV deal with the ACC. Like, that looks really salacious. Braden Keith has a blue check mark. And then you say, well, who is Braden Keith? Oh, he's the co-founder and editor-in-chief of Swim Swam News. Yo, they're a freaking swimming and diving website. How in the hell can anybody realistically think a guy that runs a swimming and diving website is going to scoop everybody? Even the networks that he alleges are negotiating! How is the swimming and diving website guy going to scoop everybody on this story? I mean, it's brilliant. He got a lot of people to pay attention to Swim Swam. Got me to say Swim Swam. Now we all know what Swim Swam is, or that something called Swim Swam exists. Yo, please be smarter than that. Don't be retweeting this guy and thinking that he's got breaking news. I say it to you all the damn time. Consider the source. Swim Swam. I mean, if the Olympic Committee is making a change to the breaststroke rule, then Swim Swam's the place you want to be. College football realignment, not so much. Swam. Got what I learned today, Muse. Got it early. What I learned today. There's something called swam.
And it's your leading source for all college football news.
No. Stop spreading bad information. They're not.
Oh.
I just learned that there's a thing called swam.
And they may have a source.
No.
Okay.
No. Swimming and diving news, yes. College football realignment, no.
Okay. I think I got it now.
Swam. Stop.
It's kind of a weird name.
Damn. That's catchy. I like it.
I don't know. I mean, did you swim? Have you swam?
You know what it kind of sounds like a little bit. I hate to
say.
say, you know what it kind of sounds like?
What's that?
An Ole Miss cheer.
Oh, yeah. Now, see.
Wham, bam,
now
thank
I really
you,
don't
ma'am.
like it. Yeah.
What do they call it?
I think that was it. Yeah. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ole Miss. By damn. Is that what they say? All right. No swim, people. All right, so yesterday it became official. Zion inked his deal with the Pelicans. It is massively significant. Here was Zion after he signed the deal, and you get the genuineness of Zion Williamson.
On my birthday last year is when I found out I broke my foot, and I was out the whole year. It was a tough year, and then for the Pelicans to come give me this birthday gift, I'm not going to let them down. I'm not going to let the city down. I'm not going to let my family down. And most of all, I'm not going to let myself down. So just thank you.
Not going to let himself down. Not going to let the city down, the organization down. It has been a roller coaster. Williamson's deal is worth $193 million over 5 years. It could go up to $231 million if he hits escalator clauses by making the All-NBA team next season. So he has an incentive to get on the court to play and to play well. The other thing, listen, I say this often, and you all understand it, but actions speak louder than words. Listen, last year, that whole alliance in college football, they didn't need a written agreement because they all looked into each other's eyes and gave each other their word. No. Actions speak louder than words. And with Zion, what he did with this deal is he did not include a player option for the 5th year. Chris Paul had a player option. Anthony Davis had a player option. Zion Williamson, no player option. Brandon Ingram, no player option for the 5th year. Those guys have told you they want to be here, and they're showing you as well. Like, here was Zion about all how it went emotionally over the last year with all of the speculation around him.
The last few months were a roller coaster of emotions. I felt it the most for my family, because at the beginning of the season, I told the world, if y'all ever want to know if I want to be here, just ask me. And instead of asking me, the world just ran with narratives. And so when my family was going out in public, they're getting harassed by people on why we don't like New Orleans or why I don't want to be here when that's not the case at all. I wasn't able to play because my foot was broke, so that sucked. Every time I check my phone, it's always something negative. Even when you're trying to make positive of the situation, it was very tough. So it was a roller coaster for sure, but my family, Pels, Miss Benson, they were always there.
Foot was broke. That sucked. I mean, he sounds like a kid. I mean, like he's 22. I mean, he's super rich, but he's 22. That sucked. But the other thing he said, and this is what stood out most to me, is when he talked about what his goal is.
I want to prove that I'm a winner. Simple as that. I want to win with Coach. I want to win with my teammates. And the ultimate goal is to win a championship. And I feel like that's what we're all striving for. Like Griff said, we're hungry. Y'all saw this past year what the team did, and I'm just excited to add to that.
Said I want to prove I'm a winner. Being in New Orleans gives him that opportunity. And one of the things that's so important when it comes to creating legacy is being the guy that is universally credited with developing a championship culture. Tim Duncan is that guy with the Spurs. It's not to say David Robinson wasn't a great player, but Tim Duncan was the linchpin which set off their dynasty. Stephen Curry did that in Golden State. Golden State had won a championship in 50 years. Still Steph Curry came along and built that culture in Oakland, now San Francisco, in the Bay Area. Toronto was close. When Kawhi went to Toronto, they won. Giannis did it in Milwaukee. There's something to be said for being the guy who wanted a place it's never won. It's why nobody legitimizes Kevin Durant's titles. He went to a place that was already winning. If Kevin Durant had stayed in Oklahoma City and won there, that's why I say with LeBron, the only title that I actually legitimize with LeBron is the one that he got in Cleveland in 2016. That's the most impressive thing he's done in his entire career. All the super team championships in Miami, the summer camp championship in the bubble with the Lakers, whatever. I mean, hang a banner, do whatever you want, but you're not going to be remembered for that. You're going to be remembered for what you did coming back from 3-1 to beat the 73-9 dynasty Golden State Warriors. Zion's got that opportunity here. And I know a lot of people, and please don't misunderstand me. I'm not comparing Zion to them yet. I'm not saying Zion is Steph or Giannis or Kawhi or any of those guys. He's not. He's got a lot to prove. But he has the opportunity. And if you're worried about the injury, the Embiid comparison is the best one. Joel Embiid was a one-and-done at Kansas his entire rookie year. He had a foot injury, missed his entire rookie year. Before his second season, had an aggravation of that injury, missed his entire second year. Joel Embiid was labeled a bust. He missed his first 2 full seasons in the NBA. All he's done since, in 2017, he was on the all-rookie team. He's a 5-time All-Star, and he just led the NBA in scoring and probably should have won the MVP. It's possible. Zion's got a long road ahead of him of work to do to build this culture around him. But if the Pelicans get to where we all hope they can go, it's going to be because of him. And yesterday, in signing that contract, was a massive part of it. Well, we got much more on that. Willie Green, Griff, Trajan Langdon all spoke about Zion, what he means to the organization, how it all looks moving forward. So we'll get to plenty of that here throughout the day. All right, our Thursday shows are brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. Let me knock out a quick break. No swim, but we will talk to Ari Temkin from SiriusXM Big 12 Radio. What does all of the realignment now mean for the Big 12? We'll talk about it next on AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Schutz Electric. Could not be more excited or impressed with the level of customer service that I received installing our whole home generator. This shouldn't be anything new to you. We live in Louisiana. We have storms. We have power outages. Some of maybe your family, friends, neighbors have whole home generators. Power goes out, boom. Generator automatically powers on and powers the entire house. I have one of those now, and I could kick myself for not doing it years before, but I didn't realize how affordable it was, how easy that it can be with Schutz Electric. CESofLA.com. CESofLA.com. Go to the website. Schutz Electric handles everything, y'all. Like, I didn't realize there's permitting with the city. When you install, you have to shut off your power. You have to communicate with the power company. They handle all of that because they have a generator, a home standby generator division at Schutz Electric. Call Schutz Electric today or log on. Get your home standby generator today. CESofLA.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast office products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Best things in summer are unofficial.
Wait till I get my money right. I had a dream I could buy my way to heaven. When I awoke, I spent that on a necklace. I told God I'll be back in a second.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
It sounds like Jay Johnson, his recruiting coordinator hire, that announcement is imminent. Could actually happen while we're on air today. I do not have a name. I have pried a lot. I've tried and pried. I do not have the name. But I'm told that it could come even while we're on air today. So that apparently is imminent. Stay tuned. It makes a lot of sense, right? The transfer portal deadline came and went. The Team USA guys are now leaving for the Netherlands, right? It's at the end. Are the Netherlands the same as Holland? I should know this. I always get confused with like the Netherlands and Holland and
Holland's
Dutch
in the Netherlands.
And,
right?
Yeah, I get confused with all of that. But anyway. So that is imminent. It makes sense. You know, Jay Johnson was up in North Carolina watching some of those Team USA workouts. The transfer deadline came and went, and now he was focused fully on his staff. And that third full-time assistant, or the full-time assistant, the recruiting coordinator, should be announced imminently. So when we get it, we'll share it with you. All right, it's after further review. Swim, don't pay attention to them. Nobody knows what Swim is. They have nothing to do with college football, so I don't care what they have to say. Ari Temkin, on the other hand, I do care what he has to say. Sirius XM Big 12 Radio. Guy's been a good friend of the show and is good enough to join us now for a couple of minutes. Ari, how are you, man?
I'm great, man. I'm also trying to figure out what the Netherlands and Holland and Dutch people are.
I feel like I should know that, but I get confused on that region a lot and everything. But anyway.
How many names for a country do you need?
Right, but I don't even know if that's all the same thing. It's almost like the Big 12 and the Pac-12. They're essentially the same thing now, right? Or are they not? Or could they? Could we call it one? You know, anyway. How about that transition? Hey, last year at SEC Media Days is when we found out Texas and Oklahoma were jumping to the SEC. And I don't know if you remember this, but the next week I had you on the show and I asked you, and I wasn't being funny, but I was like, will there be a Big 12 radio? And you kind of said, well, I sure hope so. But it kind of feels like a year later now. How do you feel, not about Big 12 radio, but you know what I mean. Like, how do you feel now with the USC, UCLA news as it might pertain to the future of the Big 12? Is it a good thing for the Big 12?
Yeah, no, I do recall, and that was a frightening period of time, I mean, for not just us that work along with the Big 12, but, I went to Kansas. I'm a Kansas grad, so, the folks, the leftovers from the Big 12 too. We didn't really know what the future held. And look, I mean, when in the immediate aftermath of Texas and Oklahoma leaving, you could sort of survey the economic realities for the other Power 2 conferences, being the ACC and the Pac-12. And there was just no way that there wasn't going to be thoughts about leaving their conferences, especially at the top end of those conferences, to get themselves in position to be on a level from a monetary standpoint with the SEC and the Big Ten. And so, you know, I think the Pac-12 sort of looked condescendingly at the Big 12, and in many respects, so did the ACC. And you kind of knew, and this is something we were talking about, like USC could very well do this. Clemson could very well do this. Florida State could very well do this, because the economic realities of this are such that Clemson is on the level of all of the biggest, in programs in college football. And if they're going to be losing money 2-1 every year to those, their biggest competitors, the Georgias, the Alabamas of the world, that's just not sustainable. It compounds every year. So this, Matt, is really coming to fruition, sort of the thoughts that we had in the immediate aftermath of Texas and Oklahoma, that this could and probably would happen to the Pac-12, namely with USC and Oregon. Those are the two big brands we were focused in on at that time, and then Clemson and Florida State of the ACC. And obviously the ACC contract is such that, swim or not, it's going to be difficult to get out of. In the Pac-12, suddenly they're not so condescending.
So there's been a lot reported, and it's so hard to know what's true, what's theory, what's idea. Even people in positions of authority can have ideas that mean it's necessarily going to happen. Do you feel like as much as you can tell, a Big 12, Pac-12 merger is a possibility?
I don't really know how to take the word or concept of merger, because this is a zero-sum game here. Somebody has to win. So, I mean, is it a takeover? Is it a merger? But at the end of the day, you have to have a central office, and that central office runs the conference, and that central office that runs the conference is under one name. And that could have been the Pac-12. That's what sort of amazes me about how George Kliavkoff has sort of skated free here, the commissioner of the Pac-12. I mean, Larry Scott has a lot of faults, don't get me wrong, but George Kliavkoff could have come in and could have said, we're going to pick up Oklahoma State and Kansas and, the biggest brands, quote unquote, left in the Big 12, and that will help to solidify us. It wouldn't have kept USC and UCLA from staying. That was already going to happen, but it would have put them in better position right now. And that was the thing, again, when the Pac-12 and all of the condescension that came from that side of the country that was like, we don't need you guys. There's no good brands left. You guys don't matter. I was like, okay, well, what happens when Arizona and Arizona State and Oregon State, like when they're left out in the cold just like the rest of us, because that's going to happen. It's an economic reality of this situation. So, I do think that Brett Yormark, who is trying to leave a mark on the Big 12 even before he's even started as the commissioner, his official start date is August 1st, but all the reports from credible sources indicate that he's, pounding the pavement, so to speak, in reaching out to these universities and trying to, get some sort of, situation, lay of the land going. But I mean, the reality is that either the Pac-12 and the ACC can, merge to a certain degree, whatever they're doing, and try to, manage as much TV money as they possibly can, which is the latest report the Pac-12 is trying to do. They can stay as is and go to market and see what they can yield in terms of the 10 teams and maybe add a SMU or add a Fresno State or add a San Diego State. Or if you're in Arizona State, Colorado, Utah, you look at the economic realities of those two situations or the potential for the Big 12. Now, I'm biased, but I personally believe that the highest yield in terms of revenue would be those schools joining the Big 12. But again, I'm biased, and so we'll see. But I think that's, to lay it out as simply as you possibly can. Either the Big 12 takes over the Pac-12. The Pac-12 does that presumptively, though I don't think that would happen with Big 12 schools. I think there's a lot more, steadiness in terms of the current Big 12 members. I think what these schools who are sort of have a foot out the door have to sort of situate themselves with is what gives us the best chance to leverage television revenue for the future. And that, again, would be whatever this ACC Pac-12 thing is, whatever the Pac-12 by itself is, and then whatever the Big 12 would be with the additions of those schools.
What is Ari Temkin's with us. He's on Twitter at Ari Sports, A-R-I Sports, Sirius XM Big 12 Radio. Wait, I'm going to come back to the ACC Pac-12, whatever that may be, but I'm curious about this, Ari. Do you think the Big 12 would have been better positioned today had they not added the 4 schools that they did, meaning Central Florida, Houston, Cincinnati, and BYU?
It's a great question. I want your answer after I answer it. I would say no. Look, I think BYU is a really good ad. In terms of what they bring from a brand perspective, what they bring in terms of fan bases. I think specifically this season, BYU is poised for a really good year. They've kind of been on the Power 5 level. So, if in the absence of getting a Notre Dame to the Big 12, which obviously is not going to happen, I would say it was definitely one of the more, reputable brands that you want to add, especially because it expands the time zone footprint, and now it gives you sort of a gateway into Utah, Colorado, and the Mountain Time Zone. UCF and Houston. Look, Houston has the budget to be a Power 5 school, and so they're going to spend a bunch of money. They have, basically Power 5 facilities from football and a basketball perspective, and a really good, former Power 5 head coach in Dana Holgerson. UCF, I don't know as much about them, but obviously they've had a lot of success. They have a lot of money, and they're in a good, So, and Cincinnati, I think, will be a legitimate football powerhouse as long as Luke Fickell is there. So I'm curious for your thoughts, but I would say no. I think that only enhances their ability.
I think that's a devastating move for them. Because with 12 teams, if you're thinking about your average annual value and you're splitting the pie 12 ways, you've added 4 schools that do not increase the value dramatically enough to where now if you were to add all of the Pac-12 schools, now you're talking about, a 16 or 18-team league. The pie doesn't grow big enough for it to make sense for 18 teams. So I bet in a candid moment, if you could inject some truth serum in Big 12 leadership and say, could you, knowing what you know now, if you could uninvite those 4 schools, I think you'd do it in a heartbeat.
I do wonder, though, Matt, and that's a good point in terms of the amount of times you have to split the pie. If they hadn't done that, would they have had programs with wandering eyes, and would they have not been able to solidify this conference as they have? And look, maybe they still do have programs with wandering eyes, and maybe it's just a matter of those other Power 5 programs don't want them.
Well, that's really the question, Ari. Who has that brand value? Because if someone had it, it seems like at this point they've already been scooped up. Go back to the Pac-12 ACC. Explain as best you can what's going on there. Why a Pac-12 ACC venture would make sense.
Well, look, this is a arms race, and so the ACC is in the worst position of the rest of the Power 5. Simply from the standpoint of what their current TV deal has. They've got really good markets and really good programs and good brand equity, but they're passing out $38 million a year to their member institutions, as opposed to, say, the Big 12 that just last year passed out over $40 million a year to its member institutions. And the Pac-12, who did a little bit of a higher number than the ACC as well, if I'm not mistaken. So what they want to do is add more value to their television deal without opening the television deal, because that thing is locked up through 2036.
I know.
I have a 6-year-old. He's going to be graduated high school by the time that deal is up.
So bad. But you got to get it, right? They felt like they were locking all that. They were like, we're unified, man. We're staying together. Nobody's leaving. And now it's like, oh, crap, we are so screwed.
And if they open it back up, then Clemson and Florida State they're out the door.
Yeah.
They got their bags packed. We're good to go. We don't have to pay the exit fees to do so. So the ACC, you could see why they want to do it. They want to try to add more and more money so that their Clemson and Florida States can keep up with their biggest competitors, who again are making money hand over fist every year on them. And for the Pac-12, they're trying to figure out however they could possibly keep that conference intact.
Do we read anything into this from the Big 12's perspective, that this is an ACC Pac-12 conversation and the Big 12 is outside looking in?
I certainly think that that's a part of this, and that has a lot to do, I think, with the prior relationship with that alliance in the ACC and the Pac-12. I think, the Big 12, once again, is kind of looked at as like how viable is that conference long term. But look, I mean, at this point, there's a Power 2, and there's the rest of college football. And like if you're in the ACC, the Pac-12, and the Big 12, let alone the Group of 5, you are losing money 2-to-1 every single year in television revenue to the Power 2. Your ability to compete at that level is very, very small. I mean, there's a direct line between success and money. We know that in a lot of things in life, and certainly this is no different. And so it sort of comes down to, can there be a third, and what would that conference look like, and how much money would their television revenue be? But at this point, the Pac-12 can do whatever it wants to survive. The Big 12 and the ACC can too, but they're fighting for scraps in a television battle between ESPN and Fox. And make no mistake about it, these are the puppet masters behind this whole thing.
That much is evident. Ari, last thing I could talk about this forever, but I'll leave it with this. If I leave it open ended and say, what is the Big 12's future? What do you say?
I say the Big 12 offers an opportunity to the Pac-12, and specifically to probably 6 schools within the Pac-12, that would give them a greater haul on an annual basis from television revenue than any other option that they have on the table. But that's obviously not privy. I'm not privy to those conversations. But I will say, I don't know how proactive the Big 12 would be if Bob Bowlesby were still the commissioner. I think the timing on Brett Yormark is epic, considering he's trying to save a conference that he just became the head of last week.
It's so insane. Ari Temkin, follow him on Twitter at Ari Sports, ARI Sports. Seismic change in college football. We appreciate the Big 12 perspective. Ari, we appreciate you, man. Thanks so much.
You're the best, brother. Be well.
Okay, man. We'll talk soon. I very much respect the realistic take, and that he is biased. He went to Kansas. He's a Big 12 guy. He works for the Big 12 network for the Big 12 through Sirius XM Radio. But at the same time, man, also very somber in the reality that, man, it's probably not going to go well for that league. So stay tuned and ignore Swim Swam. It's After Further Review, brought to you by Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com, the official SEC Media Day partner of 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Hey, look, I would really encourage you. You don't really know if you have roof damage until you get up and do an inspection, but sometimes you can just look at the roof. Like, walk outside, look at your roof, and then look at all your neighbors' roofs. And you could probably tell who's got a new roof and whose roof is healthy and whose roof is ugly and probably needs to be replaced. It's pretty obvious when you start actually paying attention to it, which so many of us never do. Look, your roof, it's the foundation of your home. I mean, it's the thing that literally covers you and your family. So take great care of it. At Hudco Roofing, we do roof repairs from the smallest repair job to the largest commercial jobs to new construction roof replacements. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Louisiana company, born in Louisiana, been in Louisiana for more than 2 decades using Louisiana shingles. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. If you want to see pictures of our work, you can check out the website at HudcoRoofing.com. All of our social media channels, HudcoRoofing.com. You can always email me directly. I'm more than willing to help facilitate as a Hudco partner. Matt at HudcoRoofing.com. Matt at HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. All right, we'll go around the SEC next.
AFR.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play. with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Rejuvamine, we specialize in medically monitored hormone replacement therapy, giving you the energy you need for all life's challenges. We can help get your day started. 1-2, 1-2.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but two NMEA-certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years, front-to-back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front-to-Back Boat Service.
Visit Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MD.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
It's hard to believe it's been nearly 4 years since Wade Sims was senselessly murdered outside of a concert outside of Southern University's campus. But today, the Sims family and everyone who knew and loved Wade finally got justice. The man convicted of shooting and killing the former U High and LSU basketball star, Daitian Simpson, has been sentenced to life in prison. So he had previously been found guilty of second-degree murder, and in Louisiana, a second-degree murder conviction carries mandatory sentence of life in prison. So Daitian Simpson, who the man who shot and killed Wade Sims back in 2018, will serve the rest of his life in prison. So my hope and prayer sincerely is that for Wade's family, who have been an incredible beacon of strength and positivity amid the greatest tragedy any parent could ever imagine, that today the Sims family and everyone who knew and loved Wade, still love Wade, get a sense of closure if such a thing exists with today's news. So the man who shot and killed Wade Sims will spend the rest of his life in prison. It's after further review. We do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Georgia Bulldogs.
Kirby Smart stays hot on the recruiting trail for the class of 2024. Five-star tight end Landon Thomas has committed to the Bulldogs. 6'4", 235-pounder. He's the number one tight end in the country for 2024. This comes just days after his teammate, Nye Carter, committed to Georgia. So the nation's number one tight end. He's the number 24 overall prospect. With just 2 commits for 2024, Georgia has the number 5 class in the country for the 2024 cycle.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
For the second time in his college career, offensive lineman Jordan Rhodes has entered the transfer portal. Back in August of this past season, Rhodes transferred to Ole Miss from South Carolina. 6'4", 335-pounder, played in 11 games this past year for the Rebels. At South Carolina, where he started his career, made 10 starts back in 2020 during the COVID season, and then ultimately last season played at Ole Miss. He was a member of the 2017 high school recruiting class. When he came out of high school, he was the 113th best offensive tackle in the country.
The Florida Gators.
And prosecutors in the state of Florida have dropped the case against former Florida basketball player Keontae Johnson. It was an investigation related to sexual assault accusations. Johnson graduated in May and entered the transfer portal. You might remember Johnson collapsed on the court back in December of 2020 during a game at Florida State. In May, he announced he had received medical clearance to play and plans to transfer and continue his playing career. There you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. They're online at gcopnet.com. gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales service after the sale. A national leader among Savin dealers. Incredible the job Trey Beal has done building out that company. They're among the top sellers in the country of the Savin line, but they will service all different makes and models with warehouses in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, the North Shore, and Mandeville. They can get to you same day, worst case scenario, 10 a.m. the next day. It's Gulf Coast Office Products, the official office equipment provider of the New Orleans Saints, the New Orleans Pelicans, the LSU Tigers, and the ULL Raging Cajuns. All right, it's after further review. This is interesting. Muse, have you ever pawned anything or sold anything at a pawn shop?
I have not.
No, Paul, have you ever pawned anything or sold anything at a pawn shop?
I have not.
You ever watched the show Pawn Stars?
I have.
I like Pawn Stars.
Good show.
Been a while.
Yeah, it has been a minute. I heard the old man died. Yeah, it's been a minute, but it's been a few years. Anyway, that's the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop out in Vegas. Well, apparently this popped up on the show. There's a clip of the show where some Alabama national championship rings popped up, and apparently they belong to Keelan Robinson, who was on the 2020 team, the COVID year when Bama won the national championship. They're on sale, his 2020 championship rings, which are the SEC ring, the Rose Bowl ring, and the College Football Playoff championship ring. If you remember, the Rose Bowl that year was played in Arlington at Cowboy Stadium. But those 3 rings were brought in by someone named John, who said the rings were gifted by his uncle. It's unclear how the family came into possession of Robinson's rings. Well, they have his name, his number, and everything inscribed on the ring, so they know whose rings they are. Apparently, Robinson somehow sold them to this family, who then brought them into the pawn shop, who is now selling them for $60,000. Robinson played that 2020 season for Bama, transferred to Texas to reunite with Steve Sarkisian. This last year with the Longhorns, ran for just 322 yards. Texas and Alabama, by the way, do play this year in Austin, week 2, September the 10th. So if you watch Pawn Stars, be on the lookout. Look, there's a picture of the ring. I guess they have it on their website as well. On the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop. I guess you can buy it. There it is. Right there is Robinson's national championship ring, his college football player ring. So go check it out. If you got 60 G's laying around, you want to have in a piece of Alabama history. Asterisk history, because it was, in fact, the COVID season. But you can own it for $60,000. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Sorry, Muse. Kind of split both of you right there with that one. We'll knock out a quick break, wrap up hour number 1 when we come back next. We will continue our LSU position previews today. we'll take a look at both running backs and receivers. Coming in about 15 minutes, we'll get the running backs. And hour 3, we'll look at LSU's receivers for 2022. If you missed it yesterday, we took a look at the quarterbacks for 2022. You can go check out the After Further Review YouTube channel, and you can see yesterday's video if you missed it there. And please subscribe up while you're there on YouTube. All right, it's After Further Review. We'll continue next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Visit Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com, or just walk into any of the Rouse's locations if you're in Louisiana, which presumably you are. I guess you could be listening or watching online anywhere. Go to Rouse's.com, but you know where the Rouse's are nearest you. They got great delivery and pickup options as well. The delivery options, if you can't make it to Rouse's, they'll deliver your groceries to you. The pickup options, go to the website or the app, do your shopping there. Bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. They'll go pick out your items for you. When you pull up, they'll bring it out to the car. It's all about saving you time and money. That's at Rouse's. As I look at the scroll here on the homepage, you're actually giving away a trip to Hawaii, courtesy of King's Hawaiian. And I love those King's Hawaiian rolls, by the way. And Rouse's, so Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. The official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints is Rouse's. Visit Rouse's, maybe dinner plans tonight or whatever you need for that celebration this weekend. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints.
Before we begin any electrical work here, we perform a home safety check that begins at your electrical panel to make sure that you and your family are safe. For all your upgrades, installations, and repairs, call Mr. Electric.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Hunt and Hill, The Early Line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off new Ford F-150s. We have new 2021 F-150s on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
My own people call me an Uncle Tom. I play music. Been wined and dined by royalty. Trying to bring people together. All people. But regardless of all that kind of stuff, I'm still Louis Armstrong.
Here's the man you're waiting for, the king of jazz, Louis Satchmo Armstrong.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Vizzy, the first hard seltzer with antioxidant vitamin C. It just hits different. Vizzy.
Yo, VIP. Let's kick it. Ice, ice, baby. Ice, ice, baby. All right, stop. Collaborate and listen. Ice is back with my brand.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans. Alexandria.
Deadly. When I play a dope melody, anything less than the best is a felony. Love it, I'll leave it. You better gain weight. Better hit bullseye, the kid don't play. If there was a problem, yo, I'd solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it. Hey, Muse, let me know when we're back, all right?
You're back. You're on right now.
I don't believe you.
Nice.
No, for real, tell me when we're back.
No, we're back.
With the bass kicked in and the all pumping, quick to the point, no faking, cooking MCs like a pound of bacon. This feels like a long break. When are we coming back?
We are back.
Muse, seriously.
You're on it. Look at the light. The light's on.
You're here and let me sing live on air. You're going to be wrapped in Vanilla Ice on air the whole time. Stop.
I mean, the light, you can look right up there at the light, see that it's on.
Whatever. You just turn my mic on, but you have me pot it down. I know your game, you rogue.
I'll have to check
that
the
block
tape.
was dead, yo. So I continue to A1A. Beachfront Avenue, girls were hot, wearing less than bikinis. Rock them lovers, rock it like bikinis. Jealous, cause I'm out getting mine. Shade with the gauge and vanilla on the 9. With the 9. Got it. Are we really back?
Yeah. You're good.
Fall in on the concrete real fast. In that case, jump in. Come on, Paulie. I know you're a rap guy. Give me a few bars of Vanilla Ice. Hit it.
I'm good.
All right. Hey, why don't we care more about Shohei Ohtani? Honest question. Like, I'm a little fascinated by this now. If you missed it last night, Shohei Ohtani literally did something that hasn't been done in 100 years, more than 100 years. Shohei Ohtani last night got the start for the Angels, and then obviously as a two-way player hit. He is the first player since the RBI became an official statistic in 1920 to strike out 10 batters as a pitcher, record 2 RBI as a hitter, and steal a base all in the same game. It's a little amazing, isn't it? Right? Like, he plays in LA, the number 2 media market. He's an international player, so you have international media that is transfixed with Shohei Ohtani as well. And he's doing stuff that we literally have not seen in 100 years. It's like when you hear Tim Kirchin talk about Christy Mathewson is the greatest right-handed pitcher ever because he had a whip of. It's like nobody ever lived to see Christy Mathewson pitch, but it's like we're all watching Shohei Ohtani literally do Ruthian things as a pitcher and a hitter, but we don't really care. I think I know the reason. And it's not because, well, baseball is a dying sport. It's not that. I mean, when Steven Strasburg debuted, we were all mesmerized by Steven Strasburg. The dude throws like 105 miles an hour and strikes out everybody. Of course, we can go back to 98 with the home runs with McGuire and Sosa. But I even think of things like Linsanity. Remember when Jeremy Lin just took over the world? Like everybody was finding a TV when Jeremy Lin was playing for the Knicks for that month-long stretch or whatever it was when he debuted. And Jeremy Lin went on to have a nice NBA career and make some money and play. But that initial burst was incredible. But then I think of someone like Conor McGregor. You may not love MMA, but when Conor McGregor's fighting, you're locked in. And a big part of it is personality. And I feel like collectively as a country, we just don't know Shohei Ohtani. Like if he behaved more like John Daly, we'd probably know him. We'd probably care way more. But he doesn't. He just kind of goes about being amazing. And it's the same thing with Mike Trout. Like Mike Trout is Mickey Mantle. He's Mickey Mantle reincarnate. But Mike Trout's just kind of a quiet guy and just goes out and wins MVPs. And then we never hear from him again. So, it would be fascinating if Major League Baseball could ever get its superstars to be stars off the field as well. because you have such a great product right now. I mean, in players like Ohtani doing things that are just otherworldly. But how do you get people to care? It's so amazing. It really is a perplexing societal outlier where you have these dudes who are doing such elite things at their game, and we just kind of don't care. Let me know if you have you have a thought on that. I would be fascinated to know why you don't care about Shohei Ohtani and the amazing things he's doing. All right, it's after further review. You can always join us, email us, tweet us, jump in the Bite Forward YouTube chat, or text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400. All right, we will continue our our LSU Position Preview series. We'll take a look at the LSU running backs for 2022. We know about John Emery, but what can that unit do? We'll talk about it when we come back.
AFR.
Got a text this morning from a buddy. He said, hey, man, I'm looking for probably looking for a used Volkswagen for my daughter. You have anyone over at South Point that you recommend? Well, I mean, look, you can go talk to anybody over at South Point Volkswagen, but my recommendation is, man, walk in, talk to Mr. Bill Reinhardt. You walk in the door at South Point, the first office on the left in the main showroom, that's Mr. Bill. He's basically sold every type of car that you can imagine and knows everything that you could possibly know about every type of car, and he'll explain to you why Volkswagen has received 9 different IIHS top safety picks. He'll explain to you all the different features of the Volkswagen which make it set itself apart among other luxury brands where, man, you can get all the style, the feel, the performance of luxury, put an extra 20, 30 grand in your pocket. It's at South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. You can search the inventory online. There are a line of SUVs, the Tiguan, the Atlas Cross Sport. Check it all out at southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
Kids have staked out their place at Otter Medical Complex The Grove, where more than 30 pediatricians and pediatric specialists are all conveniently located under one roof, so you can spend less time driving and more time keeping your kids well. Yes! It's no wonder kids call dibs at The Grove. Otter Health Center for Children.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2021 Jeep Wranglers and Jeep Gladiators on our lot now with $5,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
My own people call me an Uncle Tom. I play music. Been wined and dined by royalty. Trying to bring people together. All people. But regardless of all that kind of stuff, I'm still Louis Armstrong.
Here's the man you're waiting for, the king of jazz, Louis Armstrong.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Rafael Nadal already holds a record 22 Grand Slam titles, but he won't be adding to his total this weekend. After practicing today, Nadal withdraws from Wimbledon with a torn abdominal muscle.
Don't make sense to go, even if I tried a lot of time during all my career to keep going under very tough circumstances. In that one, I think it's obvious that if I keep going, the injury gonna be worse and worse.
Nadal was supposed to play Nick Kyrgios in the semifinals tomorrow. Ons Jabeur and Elena Rybakina will play for the women's title on Saturday. In Russia today, Brittney Griner pleads guilty to bringing hashish oil into the country. Griner says she accidentally broke the law and asked the court for mercy. She'll be in court again next Thursday. Texas running back Keelan Robinson pawning the 3 championship rings he won while playing for Alabama 2 years ago. The SEC, Rose Bowl, and College Football Playoff championship rings are listed for $60,000.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt. I am sweating. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. A little more than 1 hour from right now, we will talk to Kyle McDaniel, ESPN's MLB draft expert. Want to get a little thumbnail on the LSU guys, the signees that have showed up on campus, who's likely to just turn right back around and leave. And then what about the current guys as well? We'll talk about all that with Kyle McDaniel a little more than an hour from right now. And I did get word, we are expecting that the finishing touches are being put on the LSU baseball coaching staff. Their recruiting coordinator, an announcement on a hire is imminent. I don't have the name for you. I am told that it's a current Power 5 recruiting coordinator, but when it is made public, we'll certainly let you know. And I understand that it could very well happen while we're on air today, so stay tuned for that. If we have it before we're off air, we'll certainly talk about it. If not, we'll talk about it ultimately when it is announced. But Jay Johnson apparently is very close to naming a recruiting coordinator. All right, every day leading up to SEC football media days, we are going to take a look at a different position group for the 2022 LSU Tigers. And today, we'll take a look at the running backs. Yesterday, we looked at LSU's quarterbacks and now the guys to whom they will hand the ball. This is a really fascinating position group for LSU because you have a ton of talent, a ton of promise, not a ton of productivity yet. But that's been pretty common for LSU at the running back position. Of course, Nick Brissett in 2018 got his chance to be a starter, was a 1,000-yard rusher. In 2019, it was Clyde Edwards-Helaire's turn. He became All-SEC and a first-round draft pick. 2020 was sort of a weird COVID year, as we all well know, and last year, Ty Davis-Price made the most of his opportunity, which really started in the second half of the season. He leaves LSU as the single game rushing record that he actually broke the SEC single game rushing record for his 300-yard performance against Florida. For the season, Ty Davis-Price ran for 1,003 yards, averaged 4.8 yards a carry, and was selected by the San Francisco 49ers. Ty Davis-Price is out the door. Your second leading rusher a year ago was Corey Kiner, the freshman out of Cincinnati, who entered the transfer portal and returned home to Cincinnati. He is now a running back for the Bearcats. So Your top 2 rushers from a year ago are out the door. Your leading returning rusher, former walk-on Josh Williams, who a year ago carried 23 times for just 107 yards and averaged 4.7 yards per carry. Williams is your leading returning rusher. He has been a good team guy who earned a spot on this roster and has earned opportunities. But if LSU offensively is going to maximize its potential, it's going to need its star players to play like stars, and that starts with John Emery. We know John Emery's story. He came to LSU as a 5-star out of Destrehan High School. He was the highest-rated running back to sign with LSU since Leonard Fournette signed with LSU back in 2014. John Emery, as a freshman, got caught in the shuffle behind Clyde Edwards-Helaire in 2019 in the greatest offense that any of us have ever seen. His sophomore year was supposed to be his time to shine, but he started just 3 times in the 9 games in which he played. Had a really fine game against running back against Vanderbilt, where he had 12 carries for 103 yards. But that was about the peak of it. And then last year, of course, we all know LSU was preparing for John Emery to be its starter. And then the week of the UCLA game, they found out he was academically ineligible. He took the time to get his grades in order, to reshape his body. Now is it finally time for John Emery to reach that promise? We've seen it with the guys I just mentioned, with Nick Brissett, with a guy like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We saw it last year with Ty Davis-Price. When they got their opportunity, finally, that they waited for to be the bell cow, they took advantage of it. Can John Emery do it this year? Well, if there's one guy that'll challenge him for that throne, it could be a guy that was not even on the roster a year ago, and that's Noah Cain. Similar to John Emery, Noah Cain, who's a Baton Rouge native, transferred to IMG Academy, was the number 3 running back in the country, the number 43 overall prospect when he signed with Penn State, showed up in Happy Valley as a freshman back in 2019 and popped. He played in 10 games, started 1 time, and showed with a 5.3 yards per carry average that he was ready to play big-time football. In 2020, it was supposed to be his time to take over, and on the first drive of the season opener against Indiana, he suffered a season-ending injury which lingered all the way into the 2021 season as a junior at Penn State, where he ended up playing in 13 games but made just 6 starts. He never reclaimed or claimed his throne as the starting running back for Penn State, entered the transfer portal, and now he's at LSU. Noah Cain is 5'10", 220 pounds. He looks physically like what Darius Geis looked like running the football. I'm not going to tell you that that's how it's going to go for him, but physically, if you're looking for a physical comp, that's what he looks like. 5'10", 220, bowling ball who can also burn you down the field. That's Noah Cain. If anyone's going to challenge John Emery to be the bell cow, it would be Cain. That will be a very interesting matchup to watch in fall camp to see how that plays out. And then you have 2 guys that really look a lot like each other, Trey Bradford and Armani Goodwin. Now, they've taken different paths. Trey Bradford, if you remember, signed with LSU in 2020. As a freshman, he played in 5 games. His start came in the win over Ole Miss in the season finale of the COVID year. It was also the best outing of his career. Rushed 9 times for 53 yards. Had a touchdown reception against Florida in the Fog game in Gainesville. Well, Bradford hit the transfer portal, went to Oklahoma, but never played for Oklahoma, came right back to LSU and got eligible, but played in just 1 game. He played in the regular season finale against Texas A&M, where he rushed twice for 11 yards. Just couldn't get healthy and get on the field. Kind of caught in the shuffle. Bradford is one of those guys that's a quick twitch guy at 6 foot, 210 pounds, and he could make an impact similar to Armani Goodwin. Armani Goodwin was part of a 2 running back class a year ago alongside Corey Kiner, but Kiner was the freshman that made the impact during his first season in Baton Rouge. Despite that impact, as we mentioned, Kiner has transferred out. He's at Cincinnati. Goodwin remains similar to Bradford, although a little shorter. Armani Goodwin's 5'8", 198 pounds. He's a speedy running back that can also catch the football. Godwin, a season ago, played in 6 games, did not start, rushed 16 times on the season for just 65 yards, and caught a pair of passes for 5 yards. One of the things to focus on with this group of running backs is to remember that Brian Kelly, in his offense at Notre Dame, you can look at what Kyron Williams did a season ago for the Irish. Kyron Williams was a really good running back, a really good pass catcher out of the backfield for Notre Dame. If Brian Kelly and Mike Denbrock, if their offense looks like what we've seen from the two of them in the past, then you're going to see a running back room that is going to catch the ball. Kyron Williams, in his junior year at Notre Dame, caught 42 passes for 359 yards and 3 touchdowns. LSU's running backs a year ago didn't combine for 42 receptions. Which of these guys can prove to be a valuable pass catcher out of the backfield as well might just indicate who's going to end up winning that job and be a key part of this offense. They're going to have a new quarterback starting, obviously, this year. You got a reshuffled offensive line, and you're losing your bell cow running back. You're replacing a ton of production from a year ago with that offense. Whoever establishes themselves at running back is going to be a massive part of the success of the LSU offense, as we've seen each of the last 4 years and really for the last quarter century at LSU. If you start with Kevin Falk and the importance of the running back position. Who is next? Very likely John Emery. That's where your money should be, on John Emery having the opportunity for a breakout season. But if he falters, you have capable, talented guys behind him. That is a look at LSU's running back room for 2020. We're going to knock out 2 position groups. Next hour, I want to knock out receiver as well, just to make sure that we catch up till we get them all in before we head to Atlanta for SEC Football Media Days. We'll be there again a week from Monday, and our coverage is brought to you by Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. All right, to tap to further review, we're going to knock out a quick break. I didn't get to it yesterday, where I wanted to talk about David Onyemata. But I can dovetail David Onyemata and Demario Davis into one segment, because I think both guys are actually getting very appropriate respect nationally this offseason heading into the 2022 NFL season. We'll talk about that when we return. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001 for River City's 1 Hour Air. You know, I tell you all the time, I love sharing great reviews from River City's 1 Hour Air. Few are as powerful as this one from Michael Love, a 5-star Google review, who said, yesterday was the hottest day of the year, blasting temperatures above 100 degrees. Joseph arrived clean and left dirty and sweaty. He put in some work in my attic in the backyard. The spaces were tight, the air was hot, the water was located in places it should have been dry. Joseph never complained. He was patient, thoroughly explained the challenges, obstacles, and solutions. He represented himself and the company well. So much so that I am now a service plan owner. While I would like to never see Joseph again, I will happily call him back. That's a 5-star Google review from Michael Love, a River City's 1 Hour Air customer now for life. You could have the same experience. River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste and only 96 calories. It's Miller time.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
My own people call me an Uncle Tom. I play music. Been wined and dined by royalty. Trying to bring people together. All people. But regardless of all that kind of stuff, I'm still Louis Armstrong.
Here's the man you're waiting for, the king of jazz, Louis Satchmo Armstrong.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, we do have breaking news. Jay Johnson's staff is complete. Kendall Rogers doing the honors just a bit ago. LSU is hiring Duke associate head coach and recruiting coordinator Josh Jordan to take Dan Fitzgerald's role on the coaching staff. It fits what we had been told, which we shared with you earlier, that Jay Johnson was zeroing in on a hire, a Power 5 recruiting coordinator from the ACC, and it is Josh Jordan from Duke. I'll just tell you candidly, had a little bit of a heads up on that. I don't know a ton about Josh Jordan. What I was told point blank from a few people around baseball that I trust is that he is a stud. I'm using that as a quote from someone that I trust. But you're talking about a guy who, prior to his time there in Durham, he's been there since 2012, by the way. So he's been at Duke for 10 years. But started there in June of 2012. Was promoted to recruiting coordinator and associate head coach, or as recruiting coordinator, excuse me. He was promoted to associate head coach along with his title in 2015. In addition to recruiting, also works with the catchers, the outfielders, and teaches hitting and base running. So had been at Appalachian State before he went to Duke, as more than a decade experience, really close to 2 decades experience. If you include his decade at Duke and 6 years at Appalachian State. Prior to that, I had some work in JUCO ball as well. So another young coach who's a tireless recruiter, and Jay Johnson taps into the East Coast there, as you complete your staff now with a guy with SEC experience, East Coast experience. Of course, Jay Johnson coming from the West Coast, so you really blanket the entire country when you look at how your staff is put together now. So Jay Johnson's staff is complete with the addition, his on-field staff, I should say, with the addition of Josh Jordan from Duke as the new recruiting coordinator. I will say also that if the NCAA does in fact approve the hiring of expanded support staff, that Jay Johnson, I know, already has people he has spoken to about joining his staff in an off-field sort of support role. And it remains to be seen if the NCAA is going to allow for expanded staffs. I'll tell you flatly that I know that Tony Vitello at Tennessee has done the exact same thing. And what's pretty evident, what this offseason what is pretty evident, what seems to be revealing at this point, and what seems evident, is LSU and Tennessee are the 2 programs in college baseball right now, and certainly in the SEC, that are spending money. that are spending money on staff, that are spending money on recruiting budget, that are spending money on NIL. I mean, we talk about it in football. Well, I mean, let's not ignore the reality. We talk about in football why A&M was able to put together the class they did, why we've seen this go the way it has with Miami. I get LSU baseball has a tremendous brand, but the best players in the country have options. And you've seen Jay Johnson have tremendous success. You have buy-in, very clear buy-in from LSU's most prominent supporters with respect to NIL and giving Jay Johnson the necessary resources that he needs to be able to go to put together a staff like this, to be able to go hire a pitching coach from Major League Baseball, to be able to go hire a sitting associate head coach in the ACC and bring him in to do the same job here, to be able to go abuse the transfer portal the way they did with Christian Little and Tommy White and it's Nick Pineda, or, Jack Pineda, Dylan Tabrock. We'll see how that goes with the draft. But, I mean, you all know the names and you understand how it's gotten the way it has. You just have an extreme level of commitment from LSU's administration. You have commitment and buy-in from LSU's boosters and financial supporters, and you have a head coach that is a maniacal worker. And I know around the country there are people who aren't maybe saying the nicest things about Jay Johnson right now. I sincerely think Jay Johnson does not care what people say about him or think about him. But the thing that Jay Johnson is doing that is undeniable is he is outworking every other coach right now. And this is one thing that's a big difference in baseball. We've talked about it a little bit, but this is one thing that's a big difference in baseball than in other sports, is in baseball, usually, the way that recruiting is done, and this isn't exclusive, but this is a large part of what's done, is you have these massive showcase events, these handful of showcase events, and recruiting coordinators go to these showcase events to scout and to see the premium players all in one place together. It's very rare that a coach gets on a plane, a head coach gets on a plane and jet sets all over the country and does in-home visits with all these players. It's just not how recruiting's done in baseball, in college baseball. Jay Johnson is doing that. So for a player like Christian Little, you enter the transfer portal and Jay Johnson's on a plane in your living room, and then the next day he's on a plane meeting with Tommy White in Florida. That's impactful. That's what Jay Johnson's doing. So you have all of those forces coming together, which is why LSU is built out the way they are right now. Administration buy-in, booster buy-in, a head coach that is just outworking everybody right now. And when you mix all of that with the history, the tradition, the success, the culture of LSU baseball, the brand of LSU baseball, you're having the success you're having. Now, you're going to have all the pieces. You just got to go win on the field come February. And it's after further review. I want to get to one other note that came out of Fayetteville today with respect to LSU. We'll do that. I do want to talk about some potential transfer portal with baseball in a second. Want to remind you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. You get to the website there at Michelli.com. Michelli Weighing and Measurement, 75 years in business. ISO 17025 accreditation is offered there. With Michelli, so much of what they do is about making you run more efficiently and save you money. We hear this all the time. There's some businesses that'll ship their tools off to calibration labs in Chicago, and what should take 7 to 10 days is taking 6 to 8 weeks, just the nature of doing business in this country right now in the current climate. Well, don't mess with that. Call Michelli. With offices and calibration labs all over the country, even mobile calibration labs, they can come to you, pick up your devices, bring it back, calibrate it, bring it back to you. You have it back in a week. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Saw this tweet earlier today from my buddy Ty Richardson, who does radio, up in Arkansas. Apparently they had a conversation with Dave Van Horn today, and he said apparently LSU baseball tried to hire Matt Hobbs. That's via Dave Van Horn. So Dave Van Horn apparently said that today, that LSU called on Matt Hobbs, who's the pitching coach at Arkansas. I wouldn't look on that negatively. I would just look at that as, if you're Jay Johnson and you're swinging for the fences, why not? Call the best in the business. So they did. But I think what stands out most there is that's evidence of Jay Johnson not fearing a no. That's a tough part. It's why a lot of people don't get into sales. They don't do well hearing the word no. Sometimes you internalize, you take it personally. Like, it's not personal. You shoot your shot. If it's no, you're on to the next. Make your pitch, on to the next. And that's what Jay Johnson did here. So I have no problem with that. So the ACC, Josh Jordan out of the ACC, out of Duke, sitting recruiting coordinator, he's now been hired. The next big question for LSU really becomes, is there anybody else in the portal who might be an addition to LSU after the draft? I wouldn't anticipate that you're going to hear any other news about players or personnel additions until after the draft. Because right now what you have is the freshman class, the signees arriving to campus for the summer session and workouts and then fall ball. But the draft starts on the 17th, so next weekend the draft begins on Sunday, next Sunday. And after the 3-day draft, we'll have a much better sense of who's going to be here and who's not. Like, we know that Jacob Berry and Cade Doty, Eric Raiselman, Paul Gervais, all those guys are going to be drafted and they're going to sign. It would take a minor miracle for any of those guys to end up back on campus. So you look at your signing class, and now there's some guys you're never going to get here. Like, Carl Crawford's son, there's no shot he's ever going to show up here. So Jay Johnson said point blank, there's 4 guys they have no shot of getting. That number's probably closer to 6. But if you get a dozen guys on campus, then you're going to look at who signs, who is not part of this class, what positions do you still need to address. Then you can go look back at the portal at who maybe didn't have a favorable draft slot and might be willing to come to campus. I mean, one name that we're going to continue to mention is Josh Day. Josh Day is the shortstop from Missouri who hit 340 last year. He's in the transfer portal. He hasn't committed anywhere yet. And you might say, well, Matt, look, you got Jordan Thompson back, and you've already signed 2 shortstops, Carter Young from Vanderbilt and Jack Pineda from Baylor. And you're right. But what if one of those guys goes in the draft? I mean, Thompson's a sophomore, so he's got to return. But what if one of the 2 transfer portal guys that you signed gets drafted and signs and takes the money? Okay, well, now you have a spot for another infielder. So Josh Day could make sense at that point. Come in and try to compete for a job. Which say he couldn't win it. I think there's a lot of people who have been asking about Hurston Waldrop, the pitcher from Southern Miss. Everything, and I asked again today, everything I've heard, look, he's on the Team USA Collegiate National Team, so they're going to the Netherlands to play, starting tomorrow and with the Collegiate National Team. So there's no decision imminent there. That'll come after the draft as well. He's a sophomore who's got to return for another year. But everything I've been told is that he's a likely Florida lean. He's got a girlfriend who's at Valdosta State and wants to be closer to her. So, I mean, you could always make your pitch. Guy could always change his mind. You go make your sell as best you can. We'll see. And a lot of you have asked about Paul Skeens, who's just a dominant pitcher for the Air Force Academy, who's in the transfer portal as well. I mean, the question becomes, do you need pitching? There's another guy in the portal right now named Kenya Huggins, who's a New Orleans guy who went the JUCO route, who's a really good arm, who could be a possibility. But do you need pitching? That's something to keep an eye on based on what happens. If Dylan Tabrock, who's part of this class, if he gets drafted high and signs, well, that's a guy that you assumed if he were here would be your Friday night guy. Well, if he signs and that's one less starting pitcher, you need to go address that. So you go back into the portal. So that's what I mean by you're not really going to know exactly what spot you have left and what you need to address until after the draft, when you know where you stand with your signees, with your current signees, to see who's actually going to end up on campus and who's going to go play pro ball. So we'll have a much better sense of this in 2 more weeks. In 2 weeks after the draft, we'll have a much better sense of what LSU's baseball roster is going to look like. But in the meantime, what we know, of course, is that Josh Jordan from Duke is the new recruiting coordinator. Jay Johnson has completed his coaching staff. He's got a consensus number 1 signing class. You got a lot of talent returning from last year's team. Now just wait to see what happens with the draft and how LSU comes out as a result. And then from there, they'll supplement with the portal. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad you're with us. Thursday show is brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. We just sort of flip-flop there because we had the breaking news there with LSU hiring the recruiting coordinator for baseball. When we come back, I want to talk a little about DeMario Davis. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Better coverage for less money. 293-0450. 293-0450 or lainsurance.net. Y'all, with rising prices, with everything, if you're looking for a way to give yourself some financial relief, great way to do it. Call Insurance Network of Louisiana. 293-0450, 293-0450, or lainsurance.net. Man, there was a guy who had been with State Farm, is an AFR listener, did not like how they handled his Hurricane Ida claim. They were able to save him about $1,000 on his coverage and lowered his hurricane deductible from $11,000 to $5,000. I mean, he was ecstatic. Better coverage, less money. 293-0450, 293-0450. Let them shop for free. Insurance Network of Louisiana.
Before we begin any electrical work here, we perform a home safety check that begins at your electrical panel to make sure that you and your family are safe. For all your upgrades, installations, and repairs, call Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off new Ford F-150s. We have new 2021 F-150s on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day, it's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns to Garcia Roofing and Sheet Metal. For more information,
Return to the Mac. Get up what it is, what it does, what it is, what it isn't. Looking for a better way to get up out of bed instead of getting on the internet and checking a new hit me get up. First shot comes straight.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Check out dropbiscuit.com and browse our growing library. While you're there, be sure to subscribe to Pops, Fame, You Talking to Me, For the People, Well Stated, or whatever Southern flavor audio biscuit you fancy. That's dropbiscuit.com.
You can also subscribe to LSU Daily while you're there. It's a daily LSU podcast. from me, LSU Daily. Please subscribe. We'd appreciate it. On a day where the New Orleans Pelicans, I had LSU in the brain. On a day where the Pelicans got great news, where Zion Williamson signed his 5-year extension, his rookie max deal. Unfortunate news. Devontae Graham was arrested, charged with DUI. He was back home in Raleigh, North Carolina. Was arrested around 3 a.m. Oh, buddy. 27 years old, just finished his first season with the Pels, played his first 3 years in Charlotte with the Hornets. He's from that area. Went to Kansas, spent 4 years there, was drafted in the second round back in 2018, and was really a nice fire starter for the Pelicans this year, coming off the bench as part of a really deep guard rotation. But Devontae Graham arrested, charged with DUI. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Say it again, I'll never understand driving impaired. Just get a cab, man, or get an Uber. It's just too easy now. It's not worth it. Anyway, all right, it's after further review. We are glad to have you aboard with us here. So, I hate the summertime lists. I'll never, ever, ever do a topic where I just look at a summertime list and just bemoan what someone else's opinion is on where someone ranks in something completely arbitrary. It just doesn't matter. What I will do sometimes, though, is use that content for talking points about certain players or certain things or certain topics. And right now, ESPN is running through its top 10 position groups in the NFL. And sometimes I think what that can either confirm or validate or disconfirm or invalidate is your feeling on a certain player, because sometimes we're obviously biased toward our own. I think that's just very natural for any fan base, any family member, anything like that. But what I think this has shown is Cam Jordan was in the top 10 of edge rushers. David Onyemata, I was a little surprised because they list their top 10, then they list honorable mention, then also receiving votes. Remember, this is a vote of it's an anonymous vote among NFL executives in front office and coaches. So I was a little surprised to see David Onyemata not on the list. But then I went and looked. I'm like, he's about 18th on the money list among defensive tackles, and he's ranked similarly in Pro Football Focus in his productivity. So when I look at it, it's actually kind of fair for where he is. And I think, if anything, maybe it speaks to the lack of talent the Saints have had on the interior defensive line, and how impressive it is that, let me not say lack of talent, lack of superstar talent, and how impressive it is how they have maintained their elite run defense and generating pressure up the middle, despite not having a player of Aaron Donald's ilk or Ndamukong Suh or a Fletcher Cox, somebody like that, Kenny Clark. But David Onyemata belongs in the list of the top 20 or so best defensive tackles. So I was curious where coaches and executives would slot in Demario Davis. And I won't bury the lead here. They have Demario Davis ranked, even at this point at 33 years old, as the 6th best interior linebacker, inside linebacker in the entire NFL. Last year, he was outside of the top 10 a year ago. I'm sorry, he was at the same spot at 6 last year. His lowest ranking was outside of the top 10. His highest ranking after he had his all-pro season, he was as high as number 2 on this list. But it continues to show that even though he's a 10-year veteran, the decline hasn't happened. One NFL personnel evaluator said he might start to decline this year, but he's so damn smart, it almost doesn't matter. He does everything well. Another said he's always been an exceptional athlete and worker. Just the maturity that comes from being in the position for so long, being in multiple schemes, and the game evolving to more sub-base packages has allowed him to become the 3-down prototype. That's from one NFC scout. So high praise for Demario Davis. And when you look at who he's on this list with, you're looking at, the number 1 guy on the list is Darius Leonard from the Indianapolis Colts. Micah Parsons, after an insane rookie year, after an insane rookie year, is number 2 on this list. Fred Warner, number 3. Devin White of Tampa Bay, number 4. Last year he was number 1 on this list, by the way. He was number 1 in this last year, so he did slip a little bit. Roquan Smith, Demario Davis, Tremaine Edmonds, Bobby Wagner at 8, Levante David at 9, and then Jordan Brooks at 10. It was also interesting to see Patrick Queen among the honorable mention, and then when you look at, and also Deion Jones among the honorable mention, a couple of LSU guys there as well. So 3 former LSU linebackers on this list. High praise for LSU, which is kind of developing into, I mean, I don't want to say like linebacker U, because I think a lot of that stuff is overused, but LSU has done an incredible job of producing linebackers that have stuck in the NFL for more than a decade now. If you even go back to like Perry Riley, who off of that 2008 team, and Perry Riley and Kelvin Shepard and Kevin Minter, and of course you have this era of Devin White and Debo Jones and Duke Riley, and just LSU just has continued to produce really good linebackers. Patrick Queen, and then you're really hoping that Damone Clark gets healthy and is able to stay healthy and have a really, really good NFL career. But when I look at Demario Davis, if you look at linebacker rankings by salary, Demario Davis is the 16th highest paid linebacker in the NFL. It's a little stunning to see him as low as he is. Now, $28 million on the contract is still incredible, but and look, it will come to pass that Devin White, who's going to sign his second contract, will jump way up this list. That's pretty natural. But when you look at guys who are ahead who are ahead right now, Darius Leonard, Fred Warner, C.J. Mosley, no crime there. Oluokun from the Jaguars, Deion Jones. How about Deion Jones? The 5th highest paid linebacker in the NFL. Shaq Thompson, Jerome Baker, Levante David, Zach Cunningham, Matt Milano, Bobby Wagner, Eric Kendricks, Devondre Campbell, and then Demario Davis. So Davis actually, for his productivity, Pro Football Focus, by the way, has him ranked as the 3rd best linebacker in the NFL. Pro Football Focus did a tier list, and they have the elite few, which only lists 4 linebackers, and Demario Davis is in that mix. So they have Pro Football Focus says Davis is the 3rd best linebacker. This ESPN, arbitrary list among scouts and executives has Demario Davis as the 6th best linebacker, yet he's the 14th highest paid linebacker in the NFL. So he is still, for New Orleans, a relative bargain for the level of play that he has. The other thing that's fascinating, when you look at all of these linebackers, and Demario Davis is 33 years old, when you look at the list of the highest paid linebackers in the NFL, you've got Davis at 33 years old. If you scroll the list, the next person on the list that matches or exceeds Demario Davis's age, you have to go all the way down to Josh Bynes. He's so far down the list. I'm not even counting how many linebackers this is. It's kind of absurd. But Josh Bynes at $1.2 million at 33 years old. There he is. Josh Bynes with the Ravens at $1.2 million at 33 years old is the only linebacker in the NFL on this money list that matches Demario Davis's age. The fact that he's playing at the level he is at his age truly is remarkable. It's something that shouldn't be taken for granted. Keep marveling at the greatness that is and has been Demario Davis during his time with the New Orleans Saints, and he just does not fall off. Keep sort of waiting for it at 33 years old, 10 years in the league, as physical as he plays, but he just keeps on trucking. Let's hope he does it again here in 2022. All right, it's after further review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. We'll knock out our final break of hour number 2. Muso will have Tigers in the pros. When we come back, Kylie McDaniel of ESPN.com in 30 minutes from right now. Don't you move.
AFR.
Thursday at Pluckers. Great opportunity to get by Pluckers because tonight and every Thursday is all-you-can-eat boneless buffalo bites. That's right. They take that white meat of chicken that's rolled up, breaded, fried, tossed in your favorite wing sauce, bite-sized buffalo chicken. What more could you possibly want? All you can eat tonight. Great chance to get by Pluckers. Got a full slate of Major League Baseball games. If you want to watch Wimbledon or whatever your favorite sport is, or any sport that you want to watch or bet on, you could do it at Pluckers. Wall-to-wall TVs and something going on every single night again. Tonight and every Thursday is all-you-can-eat boneless buffalo bites, 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings. Remember, Pluckers has been voted a top 10 sports bar in America by ESPN, a top 5 wing restaurant in America by USA Today. That's why we say award-winning jumbo chicken wings. It's at Pluckers, where if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2021 Jeep Wranglers and Jeep Gladiators on our lot now with $5,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you. Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but two NMEA certified techs. Family owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years. Front to Back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Visit Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. Coming up right after the top of the hour, we'll jump back into our LSU position previews. If you missed yesterday, we looked at quarterbacks. Last hour, or earlier this hour, we looked at running backs. Coming up after the top of the hour, we'll take a look at the LSU receiver group position. Tomorrow, we'll do the offensive line, and then next we'll mesh the tight ends with the offensive line. Then next week, we'll look at the defense and special teams as well. Right now, Muso has Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
Busy day with the Tigers in the Pros. Let's start it off with Alex Lang, who was his normal dominant self last night for the Detroit Tigers. recorded his 11th hold of the season. 1 shutout inning of relief, surrendered 1 hit, didn't walk anyone, and struck out 2. 15 pitches, 9 strikes for laying a 2.01 ERA.
Think the Cubs regret letting him walk? Well, not letting him walk, trading him.
Yeah, a little bit right now. Although I don't even know if Alex Lang can help the Cubs really at their current state. Lang was his normal dominant self. The Philadelphia Phillies lineup was their normal absent self with Aaron Nola on the mound. Nola, after 7 2/3 brilliant innings where he only gave up 3 runs, took the loss. So now he's 5-6 with an ERA of 3.15. 97 pitches, 69 strikes for Aaron Nola.
How many strikeouts?
Just 3 last night. Scattered 7 hits. The man pitched into the 8th inning and lost. Clean it up.
By the way, Kiley.
There you go. Yep. I was looking for it. How about this? Landon Marceau, a little bit of minor league action here with High A Tri-City. It's the Angels organization. They got the victory 5-4. Marceau turned in 7 innings, 2 runs. Neither of them earned.
Okay.
Walked 1 and struck out 6.
Forgot about Landon Marceau.
Pretty solid year so far.
Really?
Yeah.
I have to get him on the big league watch list there. Who's he with?
He's with the Angels in High A Tri-City.
All right, so he ain't close
He needs to get moving a little bit, but
not close yet.
First full season.
Yeah. Get Cam Sanders update.
He's in AAA. He hadn't. I haven't seen a late recent outing from him yet, but he's in AAA with the Cubs actually. NBA Summer League action. Tremont Waters and the Grizzlies were back on the floor last night. 27 minutes for Tremont, 7 points, 5 assists, and 4 boards. Shot 3 of 9 from the floor, 1 of 5 from three-point land.
I know Scott Sanders is listening. Scott, give me an update on Cam.
The Sandman.
The Sandy Man.
The Sandy Man.
If Muso's not going to look up for the update, I need to get it from Scott Sanders. He'll have an update.
He'll definitely have one. How about an update from Wimbledon for you, though, Matt? Because Neil Skupski, former LSU Tiger.
No.
Yeah.
Let me get this straight. Let me get this straight.
Okay.
You're giving me a Neil Skupski update?
Yeah, I think that's how you say his last name. It's how it's spelled.
But I can't get a Curtis Thompson update.
Man, if only you had some patience. Anyway, Skupski claimed his 2nd straight mixed doubles championship at Wimbledon. Straight sets. His partner, American Desiree Korchik, I believe is maybe how you say that. They defeated the Australian duo of Matt Ebden and Sam Stosur. First repeat mixed doubles champ in 25 years at Wimbledon.
Spell it?
Spell what now?
The Korchik, whatever you couldn't pronounce?
Krawczyk.
That's like Krzyzewski.
Yeah, but also kind of like Ramczyk.
So it's Czech at the end.
Yeah.
Krawczyk.
Desiree Krawczyk. She's an American. That's Neil Skupski's partner. Back to back for those guys and gal. Love to see it. Sam Burns, Scottish Open.
So not those guys and gal, the guy and gal.
The guy and gal. Yeah.
How about we just say with them?
With them.
The gender neutral them.
Appropriate.
They win their 2nd straight mixed doubles championship.
Yep. First time in 25 years.
Congratulations.
Sam Burns at the Scottish Open shot a bogey-free 67 today. That's 3 under par. Has him tied for 7th. Pretty good position.
Yeah,
Cameron Tringale shot 9 under par today. He's probably going to flame later in the week, but he's your leader.
Okay.
And then Curtis Thompson.
Hey! I finally goaded you into doing it.
He is at the Barbasol Championship on the PGA Tour.
I knew that.
I struggled a little bit today, though. Shot 5 over par.
Yeah, see, that's the only reason you mentioned
got some
you
work.
wait until he struggles and goes 5 over par to mention him.
No.
Yeah, whenever last week, whenever he was tied for 6th in the tournament, you didn't mention him.
I was on vacation.
Right.
I wasn't
We needed
here.
Alondra to be here just to mention him.
I was on vacation. I'd have mentioned it.
No, you
He's
wouldn't.
got some work to do, but another round before the weekend. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels. Find jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com, where Baton Rouge goes to get engaged and has for 40 years. If you can go to the website, You'll see there on the homepage, the engagement rings tab. You tap that. You can learn more about all the different rings, about the shape, the cut, the setting, all of that stuff. Or you can just go to Lee Michaels, and they can answer all of your questions. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They guarantee you a beautiful diamond that will thrill her, make you the hero. Every time she looks down at her hand, she will see it sparkle and glisten and be ecstatic. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, and you'll always get the Lee Michaels experience. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, it's After Further Review. SportsCenter's coming up. We'll get you caught up on national headlines. Then when we come back, we will continue our LSU Position Preview series. We'll take a look at the Tiger wide receivers as Kayshon Boutte, back to health, looks to lead that group. Who else might stand out? We'll look at that coming up here right after the top of the hour. And Kyle McDaniel, ESPN Major League Draft Analyst. He'll join us in 20 minutes from right now. Stick around.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by GMFS Mortgage and GMFSmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. Home buy, refi, construction loans. They do it all at GMFSmortgage.com. Ranked among the top USDA lenders in the country for 2022. Number 1 in Louisiana, number 11 nationally. It's incredible the work that they've been able to do over the years at GMFS Mortgage, our state's largest local lender, and voted the number 1 best place to work in Baton Rouge from the Baton Rouge Business Report. You can learn more online at GMFSmortgage.com. You can hit that loan officer tab right there to get in touch with a local loan officer near you, no matter what area of the state you're in. GMFS Mortgage has someone nearby that can help you with whatever financial goal that you're trying to hit. If it's buying that home, if it's a cash-out refinance, they can help at GMFS Mortgage. The same way they've helped me and thousands of other Louisiana residents. GMFSmortgage.com. GMFS Mortgage. Changing lives.
My own people call me an Uncle Tom. I play music. Been wined and dined by royalty. Trying to bring people together. All people. But regardless of all that kind of stuff, I'm still Louis Armstrong.
Here's the man you're waiting for, the king of jazz, Louis Satchmo Armstrong.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. and we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Rafael Nadal withdraws from his Wimbledon semifinal tomorrow against Nick Kyrgios with a torn abdominal muscle. Nadal won the first two majors of the year. Kyrgios now advances to Sunday's final. On Saturday, two women will play in their first Slam finals. Ons Jabeur and Elena Rybakina win their semifinal matches today. In a Russian courtroom, Phoenix Mercury center Brittney Griner pleads guilty to bringing hashish oil into the country. That plea could be the first step toward a prisoner swap to bring Griner home. ESPN's TJ Quinn.
The thought was Russia will require an admission of guilt from her before they sign off. Why not do it in court? The other concern is, could she plead, throw herself on the mercy of the court, hope for possibly better conditions and maybe a shorter sentence?
TJ Quinn, Griner's been detained for almost 5 months. Her trial will go on in spite of the plea. The White House says Griner's plea will have no impact on the negotiations.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance can protect your small business with over 30 coverage options, an easy-to-use mobile app, personalized discounts, and more. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
If you have
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Kyle McDaniel, less than 15 minutes from right now, ESPN's Major League Baseball draft analyst. We'll take a look at the LSU guys, how they project, and then also those signees, which is just so important. We'll get a thumbnail on some of them and an idea from Kyle McDaniel in about, 12 minutes or so from right now. Glad to have you aboard with us here. We are going to continue doing this. By the way, and also LSU has hired Jay Johnson has completed his staff. He has hired his recruiting coordinator, Josh Jordan, the recruiting coordinator from Duke. I know some of you have sort of turned an eye. Look up the resume. Duke won the ACC tournament. They have gone to, heights you never think you'd ever achieve at Duke. And it's a big part of, he has been a big part of that success. So, Jay Johnson's staff is now complete. SEC Media Days, we will be there a week from Monday. Leading up to SEC Media Days, we will give you a thumbnail preview of every position group for the LSU football Tigers. Yesterday, we started with the quarterbacks. Last hour, we looked at the running backs. Right now, let's look at LSU's wide receivers. All right, if you're looking at the LSU football roster for 2022, and you're looking for positions of strength. Offensively, the undeniable place where you have to start is at the receiver position. As a matter of fact, just listen to Brian Kelly talking about his receivers.
They can go get the football. We need to be a little bit mentally tougher, play in and play out, but they can compete at a high level.
They can compete at a high level, and you've got a group of guys that have produced and returned. Unlike the running backs, where you lose your top two running backs from a year ago, At receiver, you got everybody back. Yes, Coy Moore transferred out midway through the year last year, but you have got a boatload of talent returning. Kayshon Boutte is where it starts. He is going to get national All-American honors and national award preseason recognition, and is justifiably so. He is on everybody's mock draft as one of the top receivers taken in next year's draft, and provided he stays healthy, he will absolutely be just that. He exploded in the final 3 games of his freshman season in 2020 and did nothing to disappoint in 2021. Despite playing just half the season, y'all. He had the fractured ankle with dislocation against Kentucky. Despite playing just half the season, Kayshon Boutte still finished as LSU's leader in receiving yards with 509 and receiving touchdowns with 9. The guy played half the season. Yo. The only player that had more receptions than Kayshon Boutte was Jack Bech. Another reason to be infinitely excited about this receiver group. Jack Bech, as a freshman, had 43 catches for 489 yards and 3 touchdowns. He averaged 11.4 yards per carry. And please keep in mind that because LSU had so grossly mismanaged their roster, they were using a 6'2", 220-pound receiver as a tight end. Jack Bech is not a tight end. Jack Bech is a receiver. And when he can commit all of his efforts this season on playing receiver, he will be an even better receiver than he was as a freshman when he was a freshman all-SEC caliber player for the Tigers. Remember also, Jeray Jenkins, who had some heroics against Texas A&M catching the game-winning pass. Jeray Jenkins was your second leading receiver with 34 catches and 502 yards, averaged 14.8 yards per reception a year ago for the LSU Tigers. Jeray Jenkins made the decision to return for a senior season to try to impress the scouts. He will certainly have the opportunity to do that for the LSU Tigers coming up this year. One other thing about Kayshon Boutte, let me not miss that point. Brian Kelly, of course, before spring began, made these comments about Kayshon Boutte, which caught a lot of people's attention.
We're in the process of building a relationship. We're, I would say, I know his last name right now. And I say that only because we're in that process of he's re-engaging. You know, he's been, injured. He's had a second surgery, but we're getting more acquainted every day. Look, he's a great player. He's a good kid, but this has been a rough spot for him. And what happens is you tend to get distracted because you're not involved in everything. But he's learning you got to be involved in everything, whether you're injured or not. And that's a process that he's going through, and we're seeing some really good changes. We had a nice conversation in the training room this morning where he's on top of his academics, and he's making good progress. But the good part about it is the surgery was successful. He's making good progress. He's in a walking boot right now, and that's really the most important thing. The rest of the stuff, we'll work it out between the two of us.
Kayshon,
not that hard.
Kayshon Boutte, by the way, is no longer in a walking boot, as we have seen videos and social media posts recently. Kayshon Boutte has been running around. He has shed the boot. He is declared himself healthy and ready to go, which is awesome. So when you look at your top 3 receivers from a year ago, Boutte, Jenkins, Bech, all back, but so too are Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. Your top 5 receivers from a season ago are all back. Malik Neighbors had the massively impressive touchdown catch in the back of the end zone against Kentucky. If you don't remember it, Google it. And, of course, Brian Thomas Jr., a freshman season with 28 catches for 359 yards, a couple of scores. He averaged nearly 13 yards per reception. He was the freshman who really splashed a year ago in fall camp and got the immediate opportunity. It'll be interesting to see if he can build on that. But I will also be curious to see, of course, Trey Palmer hit the transfer portal, as did Coy Moore middle of the season last year. Deion Smith has transferred out as well. It will be so interesting to see if Chris Hilton can emerge this year. Chris Hilton last year had just 2 catches on the season. Just 2 catches. But his final catch is the one that most people will remember. Chris Hilton had what amounted to a walk-off against Kansas State in that awful bowl game that nobody wanted to see. But it was an 81-yard touchdown reception on a go route. And Brian Kelly has many times, unprompted, mentioned Chris Hilton. He is clearly impressed with Chris Hilton's physical ability. And when a head coach, unprompted, mentions a player routinely, you better believe that player is going to have opportunities. I don't know that Chris Hilton's going to be a 50-catch guy this season. I don't know that he'll be a 30-catch guy this season. But I do believe Chris Hilton is going to be a game-breaking player for LSU this season because Brian Kelly clearly likes him an awful lot. There are a couple of newcomers as well. Landon Ibieta will arrive on campus, and Kyron Lacey also joins LSU this year as well. Kyron Lacey is the transfer coming in, of course, from Thibodeau. Started his career at ULL, 6'2", 215 pounds. It's one of those things where you can be really excited about Kyron Lacey, but it might not happen for him this year. A freshman at ULL had 28 catches for 364 yards and 4 scores. In 2021, he started 6 times and was fourth on the team with 22 catches. It's probably a year for Kyron Lacey where he just gets caught up in the logjam, and maybe 2023 is the real opportunity for him to emerge after that room thins out a little bit. Kayshon Boutte will no doubt go pro. Jeray Jenkins will be out of eligibility. Transfer portal always hits a team like LSU, as did this last year with Trey Palmer and Devontae Smith and Coy Moore. If that room thins out a little bit, next year might be a better opportunity for Kyron Lacey, the ULL transfer. The one other, of course, important note, as it is with basically every position group except the offensive line, is that you have a new wide receiver coach as well. Cortez Hankton, who comes in from the national champion Georgia Bulldogs, where he produced the likes of George Pickens and a massively talented receiver room there and productive receiver room at Georgia, a guy with ties to the state of Louisiana. Here was Brian Kelly on LSU's new receiver coach, Cortez Hankton.
From New Orleans, obviously the pedigree that Cortez brings is outstanding as a player and certainly an NFL player who had to make his own way. He was a free agent that had to earn his stripes. Nothing was handed to him. And that's what really attracted me to Cortez. He's earned it. He's got a great understanding of what we're doing in terms of developing our players on a day-to-day basis. He's seen it. He's had to do it himself. So it's just a great identification with our own players. And excited to have somebody with his skill set to, help us with what we're doing offensively as well. So extremely pleased and blessed to have Cortez with us.
And you better believe Cortez is pleased and blessed to have the talent he has in this receiver room. With all the uncertainty around who LSU's quarterback will be, one security blanket for whoever that is this receiver room, which might be the best, not only in the SEC, but in the entire country, led by Kayshon Boutte. All right, our LSU position preview series continues. Again, if you missed any of them, we've hit quarterbacks, we've hit running backs, and now receivers. You can catch it all on demand at the AFR LSU YouTube channel. Go subscribe to the After Further Review LSU YouTube channel. You get all of our LSU content there. If you miss it live or you want it bite-size on demand, it's there for you. Okay, quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk some baseball. Kylie McDaniel, Major League Baseball draft analyst for ESPN. He's with us next on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Y'all, 4th of July just passed, but we still got a few more weeks left of summer before the kids are back in school. And you better believe, though, we've still got months more of summer weather. Months of being outside, enjoying your outdoor spaces, enjoying the pool, enjoying the backyard, having friends over for cookouts, barbecues, whatever it may be. Beautify those outdoor spaces and let Clegg's Nursery help you. Flowers, plants, trees, shrubs. They've got the best selection. Their flowers, because they're grown right here, they're acclimated to South Louisiana, so they're going to last longer and thrive. Maybe you're not a green thumb. Maybe you don't know what to plant. Maybe you don't have a ton of time to care for a garden. Okay. Go just talk to one of the horticulturists at Clegg's and say, hey, look, what's going to survive and look really pretty that I don't have to give a ton of time to? That's always appealing to me. They have the answers. It's Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local, Clegg's Nursery.
There it is, the extra mile. on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
My own people call me an Uncle Tom. I play music. Been wined and dined by royalty. Trying to bring people together. All people. But regardless of all that kind of stuff, I'm still Louis Armstrong.
Here's the man you're waiting for, the king of jazz, Louis Armstrong.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Our Major League Baseball draft less than 2 weeks away. LSU, of course, is going to be watching with a very keen eye, as will our next guest. Kiley McDaniel, ESPN Baseball Insider, covers the draft. He's on Twitter at Kiley McD. Kiley, always appreciate a couple of minutes, man. How are you?
You're good. Thanks for having me on.
It's our pleasure. Kind of want to talk about the LSU guys, prospects, and then signees who might actually have a chance of showing up back on campus. Let me start with the guys that we know, right? Jacob Berry, Cade Doty, a couple of guys who are going to be taken high. How high? What do you think the ceiling is for Berry?
In terms of where he gets picked or what kind of player he becomes?
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, in the draft, I know in your most recent mock you had him at 5 to the Nationals. Is that the ceiling for him?
Yeah, I think that's the. I mean, I think he's in everybody's mix because my rankings are going tomorrow, so I just wrote scouting reports on these guys like an hour ago. I think he's the best current combination of today hit power, pitch selection in the draft. So every team is interested in that to varying degrees depending on where they are. And I think 4 and 5 are probably the two spots where college bat makes some sense. I think 4, Pittsburgh is considering some other players. So yeah, I think 5 is where he's actually got a shot to be picked. And then I think 6, 7, 8, 9, I'd say by 11 he'll get picked. But it's in that range is where it could drop.
You had Cade Doty going 41 to Boston. That's the highest I've seen him mocked. Why, and I know that's higher than you had him in your last mock draft. What's happened with Cade to allow him to maybe rise up some boards?
Yeah, he is, I think it's overshadowed a bit by Barry, Dylan Cruz, obviously all the additions that have been made, and he's just not the buzziest guy in the world. He was like sort of well-known in high school as a guy that seemed like he was going to go to school. He went to school, he performed well. He can play second base, third base. He can fill in it short if you need him to. He doesn't really have a plus tool. He's not the sort of like, twitchy guy. He doesn't have a lot in common with Dylan Cruz. He's just a good hitter that can play pretty much everywhere on the field that has pretty good power. He could probably tap into it more. He's an average runner. Like, it's just not the stuff you do a backflip over. And so a lot of times the sort of draft coverage doesn't focus on those guys very much. But yeah, I think there's interest as early as the late 20s. I think he'll go by 50 or 60. And there's just a ton, especially this year, a ton of college hitters in that range. I think the first round might be half college hitters. So he just gets thrown into that mixer, and you don't really know where it's going to spit him out, but he's definitely right in the thick of that group.
Kiley, is it fair to say this is a down year for college pitchers or for in the top of the draft?
Yeah, I mean, it's the worst year in a long time, maybe in the time since I've been doing this. Obviously hurt a lot by injuries. If everybody stayed healthy, I think it would be seen very differently. I think Connor Prelup at Alabama would be talking about in the top 5 or 10 picks. Even next year, we have Chase Dolander out of Tennessee. And I think if we would have gotten a full season of what Cade Horton at Oklahoma looked like down the stretch, I think he'd be in the top 10. And that's where there's rumors. He's got a big asking price, maybe trying to go back to school to then go next to Dolander in the top 10 next year. So, like, there's definitely examples. Obviously, Kamar Rockers had some injury issues. Landon Sims out of Mississippi State. Reggie Crawford out of UConn, left gets to 100 with the plus breaking ball, but he didn't pitch all year because of Tommy John. There's a lot of examples where I don't think the talent was down. I don't think anybody thought a year in advance this was going to be a terrible group. It's just that, like, top end 2 or 3 guys everyone's excited about that go in the top half of the first round. Those guys, I think, all got hurt. Peyton Pallette at Arkansas is another one that I think would probably be in the middle of the first round if he didn't miss this whole season with TJ. So it is a down year. It's not because we just randomly got a year with no talent. It's just everybody got hurt this year.
There's a couple of LSU arms that we're expecting are going to get drafted and signed. Eric Raiselman, Paul Gervais. Are those guys that you're expecting are going to get picked and are going to sign?
Yeah, Gervais is the guy that give you a little sneak preview. He's 151 in my rankings that'll go up tomorrow. Got some support from him from some, we'll say, numbers-oriented teams. Seem to be leaning on him a little bit more. He was eligible last year. He's 22 on draft day this year. Pretty unique approach, being a really tall guy that comes from a lower slot, but I think he has the same reason that sidearm or lefty out of Oregon State, Cooper Jerky, may be the top college pitcher in the whole draft, does a similar thing. And teams, I think, in the last couple of years have really started understanding how and why that arm slot can work, especially with tall players. So I think Gervais has like a little more support in that like 4th to 6th round area. Raiselman, I think, is a little bit behind that, is more of like a pure arm strength, maybe one inning at a time kind of guy. And I think Ty Floyd is another guy that I would guess he'll come back to school, but I think there's some support rounds 3 to 5. But if I were him, I'd probably go back to school. And if I can pitch all of next year the way that I did this year, you're talking like possibly a top 2 round pick. And he's also young for the class. So similar to like Jeff Fagan with Florida last year, because he was so young, and that gives him a little more leeway to come back to school and not be seen as such a negative next year.
Okay. A couple more minutes here with Kylie McDaniel, MLB Baseball Insider. Of course, great draft coverage. Tigers have also gotten 3 guys out of the transfer portal who are signing risks. Probably the top of the list there is Dylan Tabrock from Creighton. What's the buzz there on him in this draft?
He's in that mix as high as the 4th round. He's not on my rankings for this year just because I think he stands to gain a lot by pitching the SEC next year. But he's in that group rounds anywhere from 4 to 8, depending on who you talk to. If you want a performance guy that can really pitch, that's the guy you go for. I don't think he's at a huge threat of getting offered a ton of money. So if he jumped in the portal, so LSU is an opportunity, I would imagine it's because he sees a chance to go pitch on the big stage and make himself some money. So I'd imagine he's going to lean that way. I wouldn't be too worried about him.
Okay. I mean, he was on our show a couple of weeks ago and said he plans to sign. Well, there
you go.
provided the numbers right. But to your point, Kyle, I mean, everybody's got their number, and then it's, will a team actually offer the number they think they're worth? So what does he think he's worth is kind of a big question. There's 2 infielders as well. Jack Pineda and Carter Young. Are either of those guys signing risks?
Young, I don't think so. He was seen as a mid-first round pick talent entering the year that just had some questions on swing and miss and just had a terrible year. And it just didn't come together. He had some shoulder surgery, and that's why he didn't play last summer. So there's like a little bit of a narrative you can put together of like, oh, this guy was the first rounder, and then this happened. He didn't fully bounce back. I think he might just need like a fresh perspective of different hitting coaches and things like that. And I think he sees himself as that like 7-figure top 2-round guy, and sees Jay Johnson and the staff as like a place where that can happen. So I think he stands to make a lot of money if he can go to Baton Rouge and bounce back in the way that I was expecting him to this year.
Man, if the draft kind of goes the way people here are hoping it will, this team next year is a potential preseason number 1 team in the country. But they also have, Kiley, the consensus number 1 signing class of the high school guys and the JUCO guys coming in. Now, there's some guys we just know are never going to show up. Justin Crawford's not going to show up. Robbie Snelling's not going to show up. I know you have Tucker Toman high in your rankings as well in your mock draft. There's these guys though that are kind of like they're seen as tweeners. Like they're highly thought of, but are they going to get their number? One of them's a Louisiana kid in Gavin Guidry. What's the latest ear to ground scuttle with Gavin?
I mean, I've been here for a while. He seems motivated to get to school unless he gets overwhelmed. He's such an age that he'll be sophomore eligible, which I think a lot of players see that as positive. You don't have to go to school and wait 3 years to get paid again. You get paid in 2 years. He's also a two-way guy that has pro potential as both a shortstop and a right-handed pitcher. I think he's a little better as a shortstop, but it's such that in the next 2 years it might look a little bit different. So he's got a chance to sort of develop both ways, obviously at the highest level in the SEC. I would guess he gets to school. I don't know exactly what numbers are going to get floated or what his number is, but the sort of momentum I've heard for a while is that people expect him to get to school, just given his what they think his priorities are.
There's another guy specifically that I want to ask about, and that's Jared Jones. Who's a catcher out of Georgia. We mentioned LSU has got a couple of highly regarded catchers. Brady Neal, I think you would probably agree. I think it's doubtful Brady Neal ever shows up on campus. But Jones is...
There's a chance Neal does. It's unlikely, but Neal could get to campus. I'd say maybe 20% chance.
Okay. Jones is here. His dad tweeted pictures. I mean, they're here for summer school. I mean, this happens. You guys show up to campus and then wait for the phone to ring, and then you see, like, famously, it was the quarterback back in 2010. Now I'm totally blanking on his name. Who got a bunch of money by the Dodgers. He was like it was Zach Lee. Zach Lee. Yeah, Zach Lee. He was like, he's on. I'm talking to Zach Lee at football practice one day, Kiley, and the next day he's not there. It's just he got a call and got $6 million or whatever it is. So, Jared Jones, catcher out of Georgia, he's here. Understand he has a high number. What's the thought there?
The thought, I mean, I'm in Georgia. I've been seeing him. They call him Bear for the last couple of years. The big high school, Walton High School. A lot of players have come out of there. The thought is he's good. Everybody likes him. He's got big power, pretty good catch and throw guy. Think he'll be able to hit. He also will be sophomore eligible due to age, which again tends to push kids to school. Everyone thinks he'll end up going to school just because they think the number's high enough. The teams won't quite get there, but I don't think anybody's 100%.
Last guy I want to ask you about is Mikey Romero. It's been forever considered that he's just a no chance that he shows up guy, but he's not in your mock draft in the top 2 rounds or the top round with the compensatory picks. What's the story with Mikey Romero?
I think most teams see him as like compensation round to second round talent. He's had some arm issues that's not always the strongest, so I think some people see him as, rather than being a shortstop, maybe more of a second baseman. And his swing is geared for contact. He isn't really getting to his power in games, but he's got a long track record of hitting left-handed hitting in games in Southern California. So for teams like, the Dodgers, the Guardians, teams like that like to target guys that can really hit and they have some other tools, don't care if it's second base or shortstop, I think he fits for them. I think because there's not that flashy plus kind of tools, he then kind of slides out of the top 25, 30 picks for most teams. Then it becomes a matter of what's his number. Is his number $1 million, $1.5 million? Then I think teams will offer that. Number $3 million, maybe they won't. That's the thing that sort of it's hinging on right now. And I don't have a ton of intel as to what direction higher or lower his number may be relative to that. But that's like the area that he's in where it's, maybe a little under 50% he gets to school, but it's definitely a higher percent chance he gets to school than it was at the beginning of the spring when he was seen as, a mid to late first rounder that unless his number's $5 million, he'll probably get offered that number. Now it's a little more of a question.
Man, it's fascinating, man. It's always fascinating with so many moving parts around the baseball draft. A few people do it as well as Kyle McDaniel does. Read his stuff at ESPN.com. Follow him on Twitter at Kiley McD. That's Kiley, KileymcD. For all this draft coverage. I mean, no better time than right now with the draft less than 2 weeks away. We appreciate it, man. Thanks for making some time as always.
Yep, no problem.
All right, be well. Boy, really good news. I mean, almost all the way around. All right, let me break and then come back and react to some of that because there's a lot to react to. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Darren James and Associates, powered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. Agent225.com. You know where to find him. Agent225.com. There's so many reasons why buying a home is just a great idea. Home ownership helps you build wealth. And actually right now, what we're seeing is home prices actually aren't going down. They're still going up. So you're continuing to build equity in your home. Some people are running away from the higher interest rates right now, thinking I'll wait for interest rates to go down. But what we're seeing, though, actually is, whenever the interest rates were super low, you had a much more competitive market. People were buying for over ask in multiple offer situations. As the market cools, it's actually a great time right now to get into the market. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com for Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but two NMEA-certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years, front-to-back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to front-to-backboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front-to-Back Boat Service.
Visit Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
And thanks again to Kyle McDaniel for joining us. We threw a lot at him there, and it goes to show you like how comprehensive you have to be at that job to be able to give that type of information on that many players just like that. And there's just so much to consider. So, there's a lot of good news there. What the draft ultimately comes down to for so many guys is you have your number. You go into the draft thinking, this is my number. Let's say it's $2 million. I want to get $2 million. Well, what if a team calls you at 45 and they offer 1.6? You take 1.6? It's not 2. Will you take it or you come to campus? The other thing he said about it was Guidry and I believe Jones was the other that he mentioned as guys that would be draft eligible sophomores. That's really appealing because you don't have to wait 3 years to get paid. Go to campus, play for 2 and get paid. And you get and you bypass as an 18-year-old the minor league life of staying in the Motel 6 and riding buses. Instead, you're staying at West Campus Apartments, playing in front of 10,000 people, flying private. There's a reason a lot of guys choose college now over the minor league lifestyle. I mean, unless if you're getting your number, a lot of guys show up to campus. Interesting stuff there, man. It is going to be a fascinating 3 days watching that draft. Really, it's going to be the first 2 days that we'll be super locked in on. But it's going to be fascinating to watch. All right, it's after further review. I want to remind you about DraftKings. Otter Locks is coming up here in about 10 minutes. DraftKings, man, has been a great partner of ours here on After Further Review. Remember, right now at DraftKings, if you're a new customer, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. You can get up to $1,000 in free bets. First bet up to $1,000 free, meaning risk-free, meaning you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the promo code Baton Rouge. You can make up to a $1,000 bet risk-free. I mean, if you lose, no worries. I'll give you another shot at it there at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. If it's Major League Baseball, if it's Wimbledon going on right now, NBA Summer League as well, get started today. Great opportunity at the DraftKings Sportsbook app to bet on all the action at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Be sure to use the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Availability varies by parish. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full terms and conditions. Licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-7-STOP. Tomorrow's a big day for LSU football recruiting. Jaylen Brown, 5-star receiver out of Miami, is going to make his announcement. And everybody, he is trending now. If you look at crystal balls, if you look at whatever On 3 does their recruiting prediction machine, whatever their RPM, whatever you want to look at. Jaylen Brown, the 5-star receiver out of Miami, is now thought to be a heavy lean toward LSU. He's going to make his announcement tomorrow at 5 o'clock Central. So while we're on air tomorrow, Jaylen Brown's going to make his announcement. And again, it is thought that he is going to pick LSU. A couple of things. LSU has had a massive week in recruiting. They've doubled their amount of commitments in roughly a week's time. A lot of those were defensive players, as we saw. But if you're able to go into Miami, where Jaylen Brown is from, and you're able to pluck, he's a 5-star receiver, by the way. If you're able to go into Miami and pluck out a 5-star receiver from Miami, when we know that the most brazen booster is down in Miami in the way that they're spending for NIL, and you're able to go into that city and get a 5-star player out of Miami, I think that sets two things, or says two things specifically. Number one, it's that clearly Brian Kelly and his staff can cast a wide national net and go get elite prospects from anywhere in the country. That much is certainly part of it. The other is that for all of the questions we've had about LSU and their commitment to the NIL game, if LSU gets Jaylen Brown, out of Miami, a 5-star receiver from the backyard of John Ruiz, who is the most brazen NIL spender of any booster in the country today, it says that LSU has engaged in the NIL game. Now, listen, I know fans, and you can roll your eyes, and you can say, oh, no, they're just coming to Old State U because they can't wait to hear those 4 notes on a Saturday night in Death Valley. You can convince yourself of whatever you want to convince yourself, okay? But just how you look at A&M and you're like, how in the world does A&M get the number 1 class ever? Well, it's because they're buying them with NIL money. LSU is coming off of back-to-back 500 seasons. Back-to-back disastrous seasons. And yes, I get it. Won a national championship in 2019. I know all the history. I don't need a refresher. But if you're ignoring the role that NIL would play in this, you're naive. And oh, by the way, that's a great thing. It's a great thing. We'll talk about it more tomorrow if this does in fact happen. But my assumption, as we've talked about now for a few weeks, especially in this sort of last week when Derek Williams committed to Texas, 5-star to Westgate, you lose a 5-star out of the Lafayette area to Texas, a team that was 5-7 a year ago. What my opinion was, for LSU's boosters to sort of engage in NIL, it was going to take LSU losing or the rival winning. It's what happened in baseball. It's what happened in baseball. LSU's most prominent baseball supporters and boosters saw in the last 2 years Mississippi State and Ole Miss win national championships. LSU saw its little brother infringe on its territory at the top of the college baseball world. And people with influence at not anymore. What you need? What do you need? Oh, you want to go get the pitching coach of the Minnesota Twins? Excuse me. Let me get my pen and my checkbook. How much? Like, that's the level of commitment baseball clearly has. And football, I thought, would get there when you started seeing A&M win. Quite honest. That was my opinion. Just when A&M started winning, because they're going to win, you don't assemble the type of talent they have and keep going 8-4. They may this year. They may go 8-4 this year, 9-3, something like that. But you put together 3 or 4 straight top 5 recruiting classes, you're going to win. And I thought that's what it was going to take for LSU to engage. But it looks like that might have already happened. So we'll get that news tomorrow. Again, the decision for Jaylen Brown is coming tomorrow. He'll pick among 5 schools. He's got LSU, Michigan, Florida State, Texas, and Miami. But again, Steve Wiltfong from 247, Sonny Ship, they're picking LSU. If I look at the 247 crystal ball, 80% of the crystal balls are in right now for LSU, 20% for Miami. Certainly something could change between now and tomorrow and before signing day still. But as of now, it looks like Jaylen Brown, the 5-star receiver out of Miami, the number 4 wide receiver in the country, the number 29 player nationally, looks like he's going to pick LSU tomorrow. But we'll get the official word tomorrow, 5 o'clock Central Time on his social media. All right, it's After Further Review brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com, 288-8138, 288-8138, or ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Yo, it's 100 degrees every day, and your air conditioner's on. The last thing in the world you want is costly air leaks. Letting hot air in and your cool air out is costing you more money. Energy-efficient replacement windows from Relief Windows will lower your monthly energy bills, will save you money each month. In time, the windows will pay for themselves. And oh, by the way, it'll also increase your home's resale value. So when you go to sell, you will get credit on appraisal for installing those energy-efficient replacement windows. It's investing into your home. Financing is available. Remember, they never take $1 from you until you are thrilled with the work they do. There is just nobody better than Brandon Holly and the gang at Relief Windows. 288-8138, 288-8138, or ReliefWindows.com. All right, y'all, been a really good show. We got Otter Locks coming up. Find out what we're betting on tonight. If you missed anything, really good start of the show today. Ari Temkin was with us in hour number 1 from SiriusXM Big 12 Radio. We talked about realignment. We did hit the LSU position previews for running backs and wide receivers. Kylie McDaniel, ESPN baseball draft analyst, was with us earlier this hour. A ton. If you miss any of it, AFR On Demand, presented by Breck Golf. You can check it out at 1045ESPN.com, however you get your podcasts, or on the After Further Review YouTube channels. All right, one thing left to do. We'll find out what we're betting on tonight. Otter Locks is next. Don't move.
AFR.
Expanding healthcare in the Baton Rouge area. That is the Baton Rouge General Hospital, the Mid-City location, Baton Rouge General Hospital. The Bluebonnet campus, brgeneral.org. The Ascension Neighborhood Hospital, their commitment when COVID hit, Baton Rouge General reopened the emergency room at the Mid-City location because our community needed the bed space. When Ascension Parish didn't have an emergency room, the Baton Rouge General opened the Ascension Neighborhood Hospital with emergency care right there in Ascension Parish. The Baton Rouge General Express Care locations, walk-in urgent care 7 days a week. Dutchtown, Nicholson, Highland, you know where to find them, brgeneral.org. If you need emergency care, if you need primary care, cancer services, the Heart and Vascular Center is award-winning. You can even deliver your baby at the Baton Rouge General Hospital. Learn more at brgeneral.org.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off new Ford F-150s. We have new 2021 F-150s on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
My own people call me an Uncle Tom. I play music. Been wined and dined by royalty. Trying to bring people together. All people. But regardless of all that kind of stuff, I'm still Louis Armstrong.
Here's the man you're waiting for, the king of jazz, Louis Armstrong.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2021 Jeep Wranglers and Jeep Gladiators on our lot now with $5,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you
After further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Hutco Roofing brings you live coverage of the 2022 SEC Football Media Days, Monday, July 18th through Thursday, July 21st. Our coverage is also brought to you locally by Jerry Lane and Rejuvame and by 104.5 ESPN's official SEC Media Days sports betting partner, DraftKings.
Speaking of which, got my DraftKings app pulled up. bloody day yesterday. Got to bounce back. Let's do it. It's time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Workbox Services. For over 20 years, Baton Rouge's leader on on-site construction, industrial, and residential services.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Ott father himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Doing good. You know, a losing day, but I don't know if I'd go bloody. I'll show you bloody when it becomes bloody.
Hey, we went 0 for yesterday on Otter Locks.
No, we had the Mets. Mets minus 1.5.
I didn't bet the Mets minus 1.5. I had the parlay
The Baltimore
with the Astros and the
Texas
Bays.
game lost.
Had the over.
Arizona lost a 4-0 lead.
And the Phillies.
The Phillies' first 5 pushed.
I had it at half a run. I lost. What?
Oh.
It was a bloody day for me.
Yes, I guess so.
It was a bloody day.
You didn't have a...
And I took a pick, and I took the pick on your boy Fritz in the Taylor Fritz who lost, and then
that was 2 days ago.
That was yesterday.
No. They played yesterday morning. I had to give you the pit 2 days ago.
I was listening to your show. Fine, then I was listening yesterday, and I played the over 20.5 games for the women's game at Wimbledon, and that lost me. My point is, it's not been good, so let's get rolling again. Let's get rolling again. Only one way to go from here. Up.
Well, you know what? Sometimes you look for help, and I hear Musso in there, and I heard Musso this afternoon on early lines, and boy, he was just pumping up the Yankees, boy, all show long, lay the run line, lay everything. So this is the guy that's going to go against his heart. If he's going to go against his heart, let's follow the little man. Let's go with the Yankees minus 1.5 on the run line at Fenway Park. Yes,
I like
indeed.
that. I can get behind that for sure. All right, Yankees laying the run line. All right, what else we got?
Baltimore looking for their 5th in a row. Let's go with them.
Money line?
Yes.
Okay, Baltimore.
Line unless specified.
All right.
And the originator of the stinky line of the week, the Rooter family, the Musgrove. Musgrove is the third choice to win the NASL Cy Young right now. Well, those Giants came back and bit us a 4-0 lead last night in Arizona. But, hey, that momentum is going to stop with starting pitching today at Petco. Kind of a modest favorite here, 145 Padres laying against the. I ain't gonna lie, it is a garbage card tonight. That's who we got.
Okay.
Yeah.
But hey, man, I'll take it.
Hey, what's the plan for next week?
So next week is when you leave?
I'll be here Monday and Tuesday.
Okay. Well, hey, if you're good to roll, I want to keep rolling, man. So we can, we could give you a call. So Otter will be at Del Mar for like a month watching the ponies. But I'd still love to do Otter Lock. So you tell me. If you're available, we do it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be, trust me, I'm going to have action on the baseball. So we will definitely have it. So,
all right.
A little nervous, shaky help, but, means kind of hard finding to fill in. So Hannah Griff's going to try and handle this year for me. You should see the look he just gave me. He's free.
Evan Springs for me. Hey!
Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold, and Baker Mayfield all in the top 10 in that draft.
How does Hanny feel about the others?
What others?
About Rosen, about Mayfield, about Darnold, all of them. We know how he feels about Rosen. He's free.
Charlie, what do you think about Mayfield?
He's going to beat out Darnold.
You think he's going to beat out Darnold? You're right.
And he's free. He's not totally free. All right, Otter and Hanny, you all are at Jolie
City Slice Pints of Pizza.
Oh, switching it up on this Thursday. Okay, City Slice.
Yeah,
right.
Jolie has July off.
Okay.
So we'll be back there in August doing our thing as we get closer to football. So looking forward to hunkering down for our Thursday night cap. But we're on campus. I got my cappuccino from Highland Coffee.
Love it.
Louis Cafe is right around the corner. And it's always a great spot over here at City Slice Pints and Pizza. Part of the City Park group of the Cityport family group of restaurants.
All right. Yankees run line, Baltimore and San Diego on the money line. Those are the Otter locks tonight. Thank you, Otter.
All right, good luck.
All
good
right,
luck.
I'm looking forward to it. All right. That's Jimmy Ott. Game Time with Jimmy Ott follows us in Baton Rouge. If you're not in Baton Rouge, online at 1045ESPN.com or the Game Time with Jimmy Ott Facebook page. As always, love telling you about the Williamson Eye Center. Both Jimmy and I are Williamson Eye Center patients, and you could be next. Give yourself the gift of sight. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. Eye care, eye wear, eye surgery. They do it all with locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area, including their newest location, the gorgeous location on the Baton Rouge General Campus. Right there, if you turn onto Suma, onto Picardy, off of Bluebonnet, come to that first stop sign. It's on the right. You can't miss it. First two floors of the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020 or WilliamsonEye.com. Muse, what'd you learn today?
Josh Jordan, new LSU baseball recruiting coordinator.
How about that? Paulie, what'd you learn today?
You can buy an Alabama championship ring from the Pawn Stars
for $60,000. Or you can negotiate a better price.
What'd you learn today, Matt?
Swim Swam! There's a thing called Swim Swam, and you should not listen to them for football news.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, we remind you about Shawbill's Tire and Auto Service. ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. That is Shawbill's. Get to the website, ShawbillsTire.com. If you're curious, you can chat. If you would rather not call, you can chat. Use their chat function. Go to the website, ShawbillsTire.com. On mobile as well. You'll see at the bottom right, there's the little text bubble. Just tap it, boom, you're chatting with an associate instantly to get your questions answered, to schedule service, whatever it may be. It's all about convenience for you at Shawbill's, where they sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices, and they treat you like family. That's how Shawbill's has kept rolling for more than 50 years. They've stayed true to the tenets that they had when they opened up in 1968. They're going to get you name brand tires at wholesale prices, and they're going to treat you like family. ShawbillsTire.com. ShawbillsTire.com. Shawbill's, where we keep you rolling.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2021 Jeep Wranglers and Jeep Gladiators on our lot now with $5,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese